that is my lesson on how I treat people and how I look at people. And that's why she's my hero. Her and my dad.
Flex Lewis, you're straight out the lair. Today's guest is an athlete, bodybuilder, entrepreneur, fitness model, and social media persona who has inspired millions of people worldwide to start living a healthier, more productive life. He's known online for his clear-headed commentary of online gym positivity videos where he calls out people to be better. Through that, he's become a moral compass and father figure within the fitness industry to inform the uninformed on gym etiquette. We talk about the perils of social media, creating a positive gym culture, the impact from family and friends, and overcoming addiction. This episode is about lifting weights, lifting up others, and lifting ourselves up for a second chance in life. Here's a podcast with Mr. Gym Positivity, Joey Swoll. Well, we are live. Joey Swoll, straight out the lair. Long time in the making, my friend. Truly appreciate you coming in and literally flying in for us to have a training session here in Las Vegas. You were literally jetting in and jetting out, right?
Absolutely. It is an honor to be here. Just here for a couple days. Flew in, got a great workout I went to yesterday to do the podcast today. Mm-hmm. Long time coming, like you said. An honor, man, an absolute honor to be here, and a blessing to call you a friend.
Yes, sir. We had a show. Well, we had a back session yesterday. Well, we can call it a back session if you want.
No, listen, it was a great work. It was a good workout. I trained you.
Yes, you did. So for the viewers that I don't know if the back workout will be out already, but for those who haven't seen anything online, me and you had a back session. But prior to me leaving to go to Aruba on vacation, I ended up tweaking my back on the day that I was supposed to leave. On the day I was leaving, I'm sorry. And thankfully, that didn't resurface when I was out in Aruba. But my daughter can run into my arms when I go home. And of course, you know, Daddy has to lift her up and flip her around and ragdoll her. That's what she loves. And I tweaked my back, my friend. So Joey Swoll is in town. Are we doing a back workout, Flex? Absolutely. So maybe I added a little more, you know, issues to the back. But nonetheless, my friend, it was great to have that session. And it's been, geez, I think the first time we had any type of training session was in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pro, correct?
Yeah.
Can you remember what year that was?
That was, man, 2012, 2013?
Yeah.
2012 or 2013. We were at the gym. I remember Guy was there, Dexter, Mel.
Dennis Wolf.
Yeah.
Branch.
Yeah.
It was everything, basically all the guest poses.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Can you remember if I guest posed in that year?
I don't remember.
No, I guest posed once. I don't know if it was that year, but needless to say, I think Jim Tice is going to bring the mic in a little bit closer for you. There we go.
Thank you.
But that was a fantastic show, and of course, I think wasn't that the first time you and I met? Was it at the Pittsburgh?
First time.
Yeah.
I believe that was the first time we ever met. Not the first time I ever saw you.
Yeah.
But the first time we ever actually, met and talked. But I had seen you at, the Arnold and other expos just before I was even in the industry.
Yeah.
Coming up, just being a fan of the sport.
I think for me, I remember looking back, I was shocked. Obviously, you see the photos online, and there's a lot of people who, back then, remember, Photoshop was great. It was what was it? Adobe Photoshop was the trend. But for you, you kind of blew my mind just how big you were, and I didn't realize how tall you were too. And back then, I think a lot of people were really trying to get you on stage to compete too, because you kind of like that look and.
I love that you just said how tall you are. Thank you. But no, it's true. You know, when I meet people, people always think I'm like 5'3", 5'4". They see stuff on Google, and the one thing I always get from people is, you're much bigger in person, which is like the best compliment, as you know. Mm-hmm.
Tall.
Well, no, bigger. No, they're like, you're bigger in person. They're always like, oh, I'm 5'9". I got a mom. I got a short Irish ma that's 5'1", 5'2". I got an Italian father that's 5'6", 5'7", maybe 5'8" when he was younger. Two big brothers that are both almost 6 foot, if not 6 foot. And
damn.
I'm 5'9", man. This is how God made me. So,
why wasn't it any sort of draw for you to get on stage and really focus on that element then, and you're going more of the fitness influencer route?
So I did start by competing. I did the Illinois State, which was a show. Phil Heath actually guest posed that show when he was coming up. So I did do a number of shows from like 2009 to 2011, 2012. And I just got to a point where I liked where I was. I just wanted to improve some things about my physique, but I didn't want to get to 250, 260, 270 off season. I remember after I won a show, I had a coach contact me, and he was like, all right, we're going to get you ready to do a national show. And I was so excited. And he's like, this is what you got to take. And he gave me a list of stuff of like 15 different things. And I was like, what? I was like, first off, I can't afford that. And secondly, I was always okay if we talk about this on the show. I was a less is more guy.
Absolutely.
When it came to anything exogenously, it still am, always was. I had very basic stuff, and I would just, it's like, that's not for me. And so, I still trained. I still wanted to look good. I always had in the back of my mind where maybe I will compete again one day, but I never really had off seasons. Then when you start social media, it's like, for social media, if your brand is your business, like I never wanted to get out of shape or like have an off season where I gain a lot of weight to put on the size that you need to do in order to compete at that level. And also at that time, you didn't have classic physique. I would have been great for classic physique if that had come around. But at that time, you had bodybuilding, and then men's physique had started, which was at that time just skinny surfer type look. You had bikini came into play. So for me, it was like I was kind of stuck. And I was like, you know what? I just love to train. If I get back on stage one day, great. If not, I love to train. I love the sport. I just wanted to build a brand, build a business, make money, be able to take care of my family. And if the stage came, the stage came. But the other thing too is, as you know, to be successful as a bodybuilder at any level, first off, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something to win. Like, there's people like, oh man, you look good, do a show in a few weeks. It's like, fuck that. If I'm going to do a show, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to take a year. I'm going to prep right. I'm going to do everything right. And I want people to not want to stand next to me on stage. I want to embarrass everybody on stage. You know what I mean? Like, you want to go up there the best to win. You don't want to do it just to do it. That's why when you see kids, I get kids that come up to me like, man, I'm thinking about doing a show. When? Oh, in a few weeks. I'm like, that's not the way to do it, man. Like, you got to dedicate 6 months to a year to do this right. So with that, like, you have to be very selfish. And I just, over the past 10, 12 years, whether it's taking care of my parents, my family, building businesses, I wasn't able to give the time and the selfishness that requires to be as successful as I would want to be.
Yeah, you mentioned so many different things in a lot of chapters that I want to, dive in on. But going back to the competing side of things, do you think that, you getting that list from that coach, scared you off to ever compete? Because was that like in your eyes, the norm of how you were supposed to step on stage?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, like I said, at that time, I mean, you obviously, I was competing as a light heavy. Mm-hmm. I was a $198 on stage, maybe off season 220. Like I said, I never really got out of shape. So,
hey, watch what you're talking about these weights. That's fucking what I'm at.
Listen, I'm not knocking it. I was just thinking to myself, like, I never pictured myself being 260, 270, which is what they were telling me I had to get to in order to put on the size and be able to step on stage as a heavyweight or whatever I needed to do.
Such a shame.
And it wasn't that it scared me. It was just more so like I didn't want to go that extreme per se, and I didn't have the money, man. You're talking $10,000-$15,000 cycles, man. I don't, as a 22, 23-year-old kid, 24-year-old kid, I don't have that kind of money to spend on a protocol for a national show. I'm going to stick to my little. I remember I would sit there sometimes and, like, if you got a speeding ticket that was $80, like, fuck, man, that's a bottle of test. That's what you would think, or if you lost money, you got or anything like that. Like, you would literally, as you started to get into that game, you would think to yourself,
equals.
Yeah, this equals to this.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could have got, so.
Yeah, but I think that's such a shame, man, because think of how many storylines are being lost because of, coaches like that. Thankfully, to your point and something you mentioned earlier, less is more is how I grew up. And thankfully, I was with Neil Hill from 19 years old. And And again, coming from Wales, the ability to get really anything was acceptable, accessible. But he always had his foot on the brakes for us. He was like, we started after the juniors, so 22, 21, something like that. And during that time period, again, that list that you just mentioned, mate, I mean, even it was hundreds of dollars, not even if that. Oh, and I was like, man, so to your to your thousands of dollars on your list of 10, 15 things, it truly is crazy. I think so many people have fallen down the rabbit hole of getting into the sport with a skewed vision of how you are going to achieve, a pro card. I mean, at 20-something years old, you take one or two things, you are going to fucking blow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you're adding in the kitchen sink and stuff, it's a shame because I feel like, obviously you can't be the woulda, shoulda, coulda, but I think you've done okay for yourself.
Listen, like I said, for me, I still consider myself to be a bodybuilder, even though I haven't competed in 10 plus years. I love the gym. I love to train. It's my second home. And, to go back on that point, there are today some great coaches that do coach their guys and their girls the right way. It just blows my mind, man, that it's become so, like, especially on social media, like this, I have to take all this, and I take this. Like, I see these young kids, and I'm like, first off, you have no business touching that at your age. Are you going to compete? Is this something you're going to, like, this is a sacrifice you have to make. Like, once you go down that road, like, you have to understand you're risking and sacrificing a lot. And they're just like, they think that the more they take, the more they gain. And it's like, no, man, that's not how it works. As you know so well, can talk about more than me because of how far you've gone. But it's in the kitchen, it's in the gym, it's in your sleep, it's in your lifestyle. But it's become glorified on social media. Like,
truly has.
And like, people always get mad at me because, like, how come you don't talk about it? It's like, I'm not going to glorify that. When people ask me, what I say to them, I say, first off, I've never, like, I get people that come to me like, how could you say you're natural? I've never said I'm natural in my life. I'm like, find me one place I've ever said I'm natural. I'll give you 10 grand. But I tell people, say, do things right. Talk to your doctor, talk to a professional. Don't talk to some meathead at the gym. Don't talk to some meathead on social media. Don't listen to people. Do your research. Mm-hmm. That was the thing about me. Before I touched anything, I had a doctor that I talked to that was very, intelligent when it came to that type of stuff. And I did my own research. And I understood what I was doing. But these kids are just like, they see something on a fucking Instagram reel.
TikTok.
Like, yeah, I need to take that. It's like, dude, you're fucking 19. You're $130, $140. Why don't you push yourself to your potential naturally? And then if you want to get to that place, consider it. But until then, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah. I know. But this kind of, this feeling you and I both have is one of the reasons why, granted it's not this category, it's more gym culture, as why you've shifted into, this role of becoming, in my eyes, like the gym dad. And it was so, I don't know when I first seen the videos quite some time ago, and whether you meant for this to even happen. I want to hear all this story from the get-go, but you now are looked at as, like I said, the authority of gym etiquette, and truly having now this, again, fear. There's this, hey, Senator Joey Swoll. You've become, if anything, the gym police, the gym dad, the guy that will call out anybody and everybody if you are not conducting yourself with class. And also, again, there's a lot of people now that are just going to the gym for the first time and truly don't know, the gym dynamic that you and I got brought up in. In fact, the gym dynamic that you and I got brought up in, there was not a freaking cell phone. We were hot back to front, keep on clanking and banging. You earned your stripes and your respect by putting in the work, getting in and getting out and turning up every single day. That's how I got my respect from all my peers and all the old heads in the gym, the powerlifters.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you can get your respect, and it's all fake, from likes and comments, from a instantaneous kind of post, gratified, and people really don't care who is in the back, what they're doing. They are truly there to kind of, again, it's all likes and comments. and here comes Joey Swoll. You know, and so anti the, you know, throwing people under the bus, trying to, you know, make a mockery of people. And these videos have garnished and gained hundreds of millions of views. Did you ever think that this would ever turn into what it is?
No, I didn't. That was not my intention. It still isn't my intention today. You know, I had somebody, you know, it's funny, somebody left a comment this morning. I read when I woke up. It just kind of popped up. You know, I get so many comments, but I try my best to reply to people. They give me their time. I want to give them my time. And he said, he was like, I did a video last night about how these two young women were upset about people asking them at the gym how many sets they have left. And I did a video response saying, you know, there is nothing wrong with politely asking somebody between sets how many sets they have left, especially at a commercial gym at a peak time. People have a schedule. Some people don't know all the machines. Some people have a plan. Like, it doesn't matter what the case is. They pay the same gym membership as you to use that same shared space, shared equipment and everything. And so I posted that, just, you know, letting these people know, as well as, you know, for me, I ask people how many sets they have left all the time. If somebody asks me, I'm always like, hey, man, jump in. Work in with me. That's how I was raised in the gym. That was the culture that I was raised in back home in Chicago. Anyways, this guy's like, oh, I would have left this video alone. I know you're just looking for, you need content to criticize. And I wrote back, I was like, man, I get people that send me hundreds of videos every day and tag me on hundreds of videos every day of this negative bullying call. I'm like, do you know what that does to me mentally to sit here all day and see that?
Sad, bro.
Like, I wish I never had to do another single video. Like, the day that if the day comes where I don't ever have to do another video because people are acting right in the gym and treating people the way they should, au revoir. Man, I'll ride off into the sunset happy. Like, I don't do this stuff because I want, like I said, the views or the attention. I'm glad that it does because it brings awareness, but I was just like thinking to myself for this guy, like, man, you don't, you can, you know, ask Mark and our mutual friends. Like, I sit there and I watch these videos sometimes and I share them with, like, Mark, my buddy Goob, and some other guys.
Shout out to Goob.
Yeah, Goob. Goob. But, like, I send these videos to them sometimes, and I'm like, I'm so disheartened and sad and we have conversations about them, and it's so sad to see. But, you know, when I first started doing the videos, it was beginning of 2022. And, you know, there was a young woman that was making fun of a gentleman in the background. She's a, you know, trainer, fitness professional. She was doing some side lateral raises, and there was a gentleman in the background doing drag curls with dumbbells. And she made it a point in the video. He was in the background. She's filming herself. And she made a video to put, you know, how you can kind of superimpose your face on a video and talk about it. And she pointed at the guy, like, what is this guy doing? I don't know either, you know. And it's like, so I just did a response, and I was like, let me educate you. He's doing what's called the drag curl. This is a great exercise. You know, if you have a lot of shoulder problems, it'll take stress off the delt, put it on the bicep. You can do them with a barbell, you can do them with a dumbbell, whatever the case may be, but it is a great exercise. Something I learned from Charles Glass, you know, at Gold's Gym.
Godfather.
Yeah, but what he's doing most of all is he's minding his own fucking business, you know? And that video, I remember I posted it thinking, you know, I was just fed up, man. I was like, I'm so sick of seeing this shit on social media and people doing this to people. And all of a sudden, like, I remember I posted it, and I was actually talking to Mark, and I remember I checked it like an hour later, and it had like 1 million views, man, right away. And I was like, and this was on TikTok.
Yeah.
Which, again, I never really utilized that platform much. I thought, and I still think it is a very toxic platform in that sense. Which we'll talk more about, you know, over the podcast. And it just, I did that video. and again, you know, when you talk about being like the gym dad and gym police, like, I'm not trying to be gym police in terms of, like, I don't want people to fear me. Like, if you ever watch my videos, like, I never attack people. I never talk down to them. I don't speak to them on a level where I'm trying to belittle them. It's always like, hey, let me explain to you why what you're doing is not only hurting that person in the video, why you would never want that done to you, and why that's keeping people out of the gym that see this and think this is gym culture. This is what I'm going to experience if I go to the gym.
Exactly.
And then I tell them, do better or mind your own business. I'm not like, I'm not sitting here trying to bash them, and I've spoke out several times. I know there's people, like, the internet is going to internet. People are going to go and be hateful. It's just, there's nothing you can do about that. But what's really sad is a lot of these videos that I've done, they're really horrible things that people have done. You're filming people in locker rooms, nude. Like, they don't understand the consequences. Of all the videos I've done, hundreds and hundreds of videos, 5 people have apologized and been accountable. Only 5 people have actually been like, you know what, I fucked up. I'm sorry. I need to do better. The rest have, like, blamed other people or tried to make themselves out to be victims or pointed fingers or gotten mad at me. And, you know, we talked about this the other day. It's like, I try and tell these people, like, let's talk about the locker room stuff. Like, if you film my mom or my dad in the locker room naked and you post it, do you understand what happens to you or what I do? Like, there's people out there that will become violent to you. Like, there's consequences and stuff like that. Yeah, there's also legal consequences where you can go to jail, you could be fined, you have to register as a sex offender. But it's like, if you cross the wrong person doing these types of things that you're doing because you want views and attention, don't be upset when somebody becomes physically violent. Like, I'm a calm person, but anybody, you cross the wrong person out there,
absolutely,
they're going to hurt you.
And that has happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's these guys, you know, who, I'm saying generalized guys that have done these skits and you know, pranks and stuff like that. They've been shot.
Oh my God.
They go into the hood and they do all these things. It's like, listen, this is a different. You're coming out from suburbia into, you know, a different warland. You know, parts of Chicago that you wouldn't even go down because you know the wrong right. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, absolutely. And
then you speak to the wrong person. Man, you're carjacked. You got everything taken off you. And that, sorry, Joe, that is exactly what you're talking about, because I have seen through other videos situations that have occurred where it's fallen, you know, into the wrong hands, and whether they've caught it, it's a prank, but there's people who have been shot.
Yeah.
And in our case right now, we're talking about the gym culture. I don't know of any people who have had anything of that extremities, because obviously that's the top of the tree. But we know when you've had these videos sent to you where there's been repercussions after videos been posting where people have been jumped in the gym and whatnot. But sorry, guys, carry on, Joe. You were just about to say something.
No, I was talking about, like, the whole prank thing. Like, I don't know if you saw the video. I saw it a couple months ago of these kids pretending to pour gasoline on this man's car, like they were going to set it on fire, and he stood out. He was going to shoot him.
What is wrong with people?
Like,
bro?
What, dude? This is what I'm talking about. This is my problem with social media, and I don't say this in terms of trying to attack people. I say this because I want to help people, and I really mean this. Society today is people, especially these young men and women, and I'll say women because I think women have it harder in this sense. They equate their self-worth, their self-love to their likes, their views, the attention they get on social media.
No question.
They could be in a house full of a loving family, great friends, people that adore them, but they're so concerned about that dopamine, about that rush, about that high, about that gratification they get from social media. That's how they see themselves, as being somebody that has value. And don't get me wrong, I've fallen down that rabbit hole too, where, listen, I put a post up and it gets a lot of engagement where I'm, you know, flexing, or I'm in the gym and people are like, oh, man, you look, does it feel good? Yeah, it feels good. But you can't let yourself get lost in that, where you're going to start doing things like these pranks, or maybe starting to scale and cross the line of what your own morality is for yourself and what you know to be right and wrong, as well as the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. But to do this at other people's expense, to get those likes, to get those views, all for what, man? So you could feel good for a couple hours until the next video goes viral and everybody forgets about you, and that person's life is destroyed, or that person doesn't ever want to go to the gym again. Like, that's the thing I don't think they understand is, just because it's a video on social media and it's not right in front of you in real life, like, that's real. That happened. That's somebody's life, and you're hurting them. You're destroying something for them. You're taking something away from them, as well as the people watching. Like I said before, there's literally been thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the past 2 years that have been like, this exact comment. This is exactly why I don't go to the gym.
Wow.
This video. To think about that, right?
It's crazy, yeah.
After the pandemic, after COVID, after everything we just went through, where the one thing everybody should be doing is trying to get healthy in the gym, doing something to be healthier, be physically active. And these fucking kids, these people, and I don't mean to say kids because I've covered adults too that should even know better. Like that's the thing. It's like a kid makes a mistake. He's a kid, right? You make a mistake, you learn, you grow. We all did dumb shit as kids that we would beat our own asses for today. But man, it's just like you're robbing people of the opportunity to better themselves in a community like the gym community that we love so much. We're so passionate about and we're so protective of. Like, to me, it truly is a brother sisterhood. And I just hate the idea that there's one person, like I said to people all the time, 90% of the gym are great people. They'll support you. They'll have your back. They know better. But it's that 1% that ruins it for everybody.
Have you ever seen a video that's been sent to you as so appalling that you don't even want to post it?
Yep. A couple weeks ago, I had a, well...
Because a couple of things for me, it's a line in the sand. I would lose my shit if I seen something like, for example, somebody picking on a disabled kid.
That's exactly. So a few weeks ago, I had a video sent to me of a man mocking and making fun of a gentleman that has special needs. I need to say this right because when I posted the video, I said he was special needs, and there was a lot of people that were like, "Don't say he is special needs. Say he has special needs." So to that community, I want to say this right because coming from my heart, obviously from a good place. It was a video of a man that has special needs. He was in the locker room changing, and another man filmed him and posted it. And I thought to myself, I am not going to post this video. Instead, what I did, I contacted the gym. They took care of it immediately. That person is gone. I did not want to post that to further embarrass that young man that he was, making fun of. And two, I don't think I could have made a video without getting enraged and acting in a way that I thought would maybe take away from the message a little bit. But it got the response it deserved by me simply doing a tweet or just posting, a text.
I remember this.
I was like, hey, I got a video today. And I've had other videos, like fights in the gym. Like, dude, like there's been like 3 or 4 over the past couple months. A fight breaks out in the gym. A kid's literally beating the hell out of each other, and everybody stands, and the first thing they do is take out their phone to record. Nobody, listen, let me tell you something. I grew up in Chicago. I went to a gym. Shout out Elston and Lawrence. Used to be Powerhouse, now it's Export. But that gym was in a rough neighborhood. There were times twice we almost got jumped at our car, robbed in the parking lot. It's not the best neighborhood, but the gym was great, man. It was such a great community in that gym. I love that gym. I still go there when I go back to Chicago.
It's probably a haven along with everybody else's haven, right?
Yeah, but if that would have happened in that gym, the guys that are in that gym that are like, they would have never let that happen. They would have broken that shit up in seconds. Like, that does not fly in this gym. And the fact that I've seen these videos where these kids, and nobody steps in to do nothing. If I was there, my first inclination is somebody's going to bang their head on a weight. They're going to be dead, or something really horrible is going to happen. Break it up or do something to stop it. Try to intervene. And people just would rather film it to post on social media because they want to be the first to post it to get all that attention. And it's like, come on, man, be human. Be fucking human.
Yeah, it's got to be, as you said earlier, it's got to be difficult for you to be in the receiving end of these videos that come in, and obviously then you have to selectively think, I don't want to put this out there to further embarrass this person, with the gentleman with the special needs, and then you've got other things where there's a lack of context too, so you have to really decipher through the video and see, okay, what really is going on here and what lesson can be learned. So there's a lot of what people don't realize. Obviously, you and I have a mutual friend that Mark, shout out to Mark, that I guess you guys work with each other and share some videos and stuff.
Me, Mark, and Goob.
You and Mark and Goob.
We have a group text called the Great Crusade.
Oh,
where Goob will send his stuff to get ideas off us. I'll send my stuff, and it's all 3 of us kind of bounce ideas, and we'll do further investigation and check more into things. And we also do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. We've helped a lot of people, done charitable work for people, bought people gym memberships that we don't, obviously post about. But in certain cases, especially when we've gotten some stuff about like women that have had stalkers and gone through really bad abusive situations in gyms, to help them get to a gym that's safe. And we obviously we don't post that publicly, but we've helped them out, on the back end. So yeah, those are like we have it's like our board.
It's like a FBI there, right?
Yeah.
With all the fucking spidergrams all connecting to one another. But you mentioned Goob. Goob has obviously got another, he's got his own social media pages. I was made aware of him through him exposing somebody that I wasn't fond of, and he just kind of proved my point when, this was some time back. But I came across him, and again, that guy does a lot of research, personal research. Again, it's not like you guys are monetizing. Listen, there's things that you could potentially work off. Obviously, you've got now things that are going on through this, but a lot of people don't realize that you don't monetize off your views.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, this is where it gets a little muddied water, because for you and I were speaking yesterday, and straight away you kind of said, nah, I don't monetize. I make sure that, none of this is monetized. This is all on my own personal time, and this is a passion project for me. And something that has truly fallen on your lap now, and where like you said earlier, from your own words, it's like, it's difficult for you to keep doing this because you see certain things, and I'm sure the bar keeps on getting lifted every single year, where you get sent more and more very difficult things to see. And obviously with Goob, when he does his research, geez, you two together, I'm sure that WhatsApp group or whatever it is my gosh, full of information and things that you truly have to decipher. Because listen, when you go after somebody, especially like in Goob's case, you really have to make sure you're getting your information correct, because there's legalities that could follow, right? In your regards, you're kind of flipping the video, what is being seen, and making sure people see, there's a lesson to be learned from this, whether they see it or not, which, as you said too, 5 people out of the hundreds of videos have apologized. But if there was any kind of, anything that you want to say to anybody who's out there to create this, throwing under the bus of fellow gym goers, what would the warning from Joey Swoll be?
I don't know if there'd be a warning, but I will, touching on what you said. Just treat people the way you want to be treated, man. Don't the thing is, every video I've done, people know better. You know better than to do that. But like I said, people get so clouded by the idea of getting views and attention. And the other thing is too, what drives me crazy about today's generation is everything needs to be filmed and posted on social media. Like, even like I've had situations where people have sent me videos where they're in the gym, there's a little conflict that arises in a shared space. It's going to happen. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this person did this to me. What'd they do? They told me to move from in front of the mirror because they were behind me on a machine, and they weren't very nice about it. And I'm just like, listen, you're an adult. Handle it like an adult. You don't need to take a video and post it to social media. Be an adult in an adult space that's shared like the gym, and move on. But one thing I will say about Goob, he has a law degree. Like
Does he really?
Yeah, he is one of the most intelligent people. And I always tell him, I say, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of the Goobini.
The Goobini.
He's
the great Goobini.
Yeah, he's he gets people that threaten to sue him all the time, and he's like, and he literally sends him his lawyer, like, all right, send me this stuff. And what's crazy is I've had going back on what you said, like I've had people be like, Joey, you better cut me a check from you getting paid off all these views. And I'm like, I don't monetize, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I don't monetize those. I don't get paid off that. I just started YouTube a few months ago. I just started getting the Twitter monetization like a week ago, right? So I don't get paid off that. So no, I mean, I'm not doing this to get paid off views. But I've also had people like say they're going to sue me. Like, I didn't give you permission to post that. It's like, you posted it to the internet.
Yeah. What about
like,
the other fucking person you didn't promote?
You post. So, okay, let me get this straight. So you took a video of somebody without their permission. You posted on social media to shame them, to make fun of them for likes and attention. And you're upset with me because I responded to it, which is what the internet is for. Like, TikTok and like Instagram now, like they're literally built off, the platform is built off, stitching videos, duetting videos. Like, once you post that to the internet on a public page, that's free game. Anybody can give their opinion. And again, man, and like I said, if you watch my videos, it's never, I'm never like, fuck you, you piece of, hey man, I get it. We're human. Let me explain to you why this hurts somebody. Let me explain to you why this hurts gym culture. Let me explain to you, what the real gym etiquette would be, or whatever the case may be. Do better.
Yeah,
I'm never attacking people, and they get so mad at me, man. And I've had some crazy threats and stuff, but what are you gonna do?
Well, keep on doing what you're doing. You again, I ain't gonna say the gym dad. You just sound like the gym dad. Hey, let me sit down, son. Let me tell you why you messed up. But again, you don't go at it at the aggressive route. No. That's the difference between you and I. And I don't know. Listen, I'm not privy to every filming session you've had, but I'd have to bite my tongue on certain things. Yeah. I'd be like, oh my God. And you obviously having that Irish, Italian blood in you. I'm sure that one is fighting the other just to truly, you really want to say something in some cases. But again, you then become part of the the rolling on chain. But through all this, Gym Positivity Nation, you have got some incredible things that are coming down the pipeline through, this platform that you've created, and from the horse's mouth, tell me what you are now working on with all these gyms.
Yeah. So, we started selling, I guess you call it merch, apparel, and stuff with the GPN logo, so that people could kind of see this logo and feel like it was a moniker, a symbol, something that, not only promoted that culture, but, for example, if you're in the gym and you see somebody wearing a hat, a shirt, one of the MYOB shirts, you can go up to that person, start a conversation, know there's somebody, maybe you could ask for a spot, or somebody that you can count on to have your back in the gym, or maybe that you're in a safe space. So we kind of took that, me and Mark, and we created this idea, like, how can we get gyms involved, right? Because ever since I started doing these videos, I've had gyms that have, supported it in terms of putting up new policy, new rules, especially with the locker room stuff. I've had a lot of gym owners that have, reposted my stuff with their own thoughts of, this is exactly what, gyms need, and, this is the culture of our gym. So we decided, like, how could we take that and create a network of gyms that are kind of in that, have that same ideology, that same, passion to promote a safe space for people to come. And also at the same time, like I said earlier, all those people outside the gym that are leaving those comments of, this is why I'll never go to a gym, or I've never been to a gym before because this scares the shit out of me, to give them a way to know this gym is a place where you won't experience that. So we started, we did our first gym a few weeks ago in Ohio. Shout out Revitalize.
Congrats.
Really good guys out there. So we're creating these huge banners to hang in gyms, on walls, from rafters, whatever. We did in the one gym, the two gyms we did in Ohio, there was one on the wall, one on hanging from the rafters. So cool. And that, along with, kind of our law, our laws, our gym laws, our mission statement and stuff like that, to help these gyms, like I said, promote that type of culture, that environment. And I want people to walk in that gym and see that. And I don't want them to think Joey Swoll. I want them to think, like I said, this is a place where I can better myself, feel safe, know that I'll be supported, and that staff and management and the people there be committed to that.
You have 8 commandments.
8 commandments, yes.
And do you mind if I read them out?
Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
So the 8 commandments.
I don't have them memorized.
I looked at them and I thought, let me not ask. Number 1, we are about positivity and positivity only. We have a zero tolerance policy for harassment, ridicule, or unwanted advancements. Number 2, anyone and everyone who is recorded and posted has given given, I guess we should have seen, consent to do so. Number 3, this is a brother-sisterhood. In our uniqueness, we are all here for the same goal, to be better. Number 4, we are there to lift each other up. I like that. Yeah, Number 5, no matter how good the lighting is, the locker room is there for others in there, then the cameras are off. Let me read that again. No matter how good the lighting is in there, sorry, this is my dyslexia kicking in. No matter how good the lighting is in there, in the locker room, this is how I went wrong. I wrote this wrong. If there are others in there, then the cameras are off.
Yes.
We use proper, kind, encouraging etiquette when asking or offering advice, a sport or anything else. Number 7, no member should ever feel afraid to be themselves. If you grunt, you grunt. If you dance while doing cardio, then you dance. No judgment is allowed through our gym doors. Number 8, we mind our business.
Yes, sir.
The Swoll law. I like that, my friend.
Thank you.
So you now have created that, and you're going nationwide with this. And I truly think, and I truly know, I'll say this is truly needed.
Absolutely.
It truly is needed. There's been a massive, I think since post-COVID, people have come into gyms like fucking hooligans. There's been no etiquette. People have come in maybe in the first, they've come in from, not having any type of human contact for over a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. Then all of a sudden they're in there with their boys and using the gym as if it's a youth club, acting all kinds of foolishness. And then you've got people who are truly have seen the brakes that were put on them during COVID. And it's like, hey, I need to sort my health out. Yeah. This is now being addressed where I got COVID and, this is such a common story that I've heard through the doors here at my gym. It's like I felt I faced death. And I realized in that moment that I really needed to take heed and get my health in check and start doing things. And the gym was one of them things that I discovered for the first time through COVID, whether they were going out and walking, whether they went and bought their first weight set. And a lot of people had incredible transformations during this process. Again, I hear these testimonies coming through my door. What I've done here at my gym is create a culture. A culture meaning that you have people who are coming in at 400 pounds who are on their transformation, training next to somebody like Nick Walker, who is going for the Mr. Olympia, training next to somebody who is a UFC fighter, training next to somebody that is a 70-year-old granny. Not one of them people is better than one another. Everybody has their story. Everybody has, their right to be in this gym. But also, they have the right to see the door out. I've seen people take advantage of their popularity. I've seen people take advantage of their fake, because it's fake, fame. Fame is what it is, right? Yeah. But to them, they think they're bigger than thou. And I, as a gym owner, won't put up with it. I've actually told people who have millions of followers, listen, bro, you think I pay the bills in this fucking place? Yeah. You see me walking around like that? No. So who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And I gave one person half the chance. He came back with a remark and said, nah, it's probably not best you leave. There's the door. That was a VIP. No names mentioned. But when you allow people to be in a gym just based on their popularity, based on their Instagram followers, you allow a cancer to spread, especially if they're acting that certain way. Yeah. And nobody has the right to do that. And obviously, as we also found there's issues with tripods and stuff like that. Some of these people are coming in with tripods that was size of a human. So times that by, 20, you've got 20 basically full-size children all dotted around the gym. And again, then you have issues with people who don't want to be on camera. You have people who are trying to be on camera. Listen, you have every variable because it's like, oh, you're famous. Let me get in the back and train. And then that guy who's got, whatever amount of followers is like, hey, can you move? Again, so we've eliminated so many issues long before that I even seen any of what you're doing. So it's truly refreshing for a gym owner to see this, this movement, and also have somebody like yourself who is pioneering with such passion. Now, this doesn't come from just from thin air. This really ties in with you and your brand because, you have been and have worn different shoes and different hats, no pun intended.
Yeah.
You've been the athlete, you've been the influencer. So you're truly speaking from experience, and that's what I want to touch on too. It's like you have been the influencer in the gym around people. And obviously a different decade. It wasn't, tripods and stuff like that when you and I were first in the gym training. But obviously take us back to Joey Swoll in his peak. And
I'm in my peak. What are you talking about?
Joey Swoll in his
my first peak.
the first peak. No, I want to talk about your days with Shredz and the popularity where I knew Joey Swoll. That's where really I'm getting at. Is like obviously for me and you, we connected way back when, or we knew of one another. But that was the era that I knew of you. So where you've come from there to where you are now has been an incredible ride. One of maturity, one of lessons learned, ups and downs, and all in between. And I think we should start way back when. Let's peel the onion skin back.
Way back when.
Sounds old, right?
Yeah, I know. It's funny because people, a kid come up to me yesterday here at Dragon's Lair. A kid yesterday came up to me and he was like, man, I've been following you for 10 years. And I'm just like, man, it's been that, like, we're OGs in this game. I've been doing the whole social media thing since, 2011. We were one of the first companies and first kind of group of athletes to pioneer social media marketing and kind of set that blueprint. But man, it has been a wild ride over the past, 10, 11, 12 years. Very blessed, man. I like to tell people I've gained a lot of perspective and wisdom and experience over the past, 11, 12 years that have kind of created the person I am today. And unfortunately, some of that has been making mistakes and falling and trusting the wrong people and getting fucked over in certain senses. But I wouldn't trade it, man. Like I'm very appreciative of everything I've gone through because it's helped me, like I said, to have the perspective I have today to try and put the message out there I put out there. But I still remember till this day, like my buddy telling me to download Instagram and me being like, this, I don't even understand this. Like at that, because it's like, everything was cyclical when it came to, like, first you had MySpace, then there was Facebook and Twitter and then all of a sudden there was Instagram and what was the one?
There
Vine.
Was
Vine.
And there was Face. What was the one before that? Was not Face. Oh, fuck.
MySpace.
Can't you?
MySpace.
Tinder.
See, we have God. Is that you?
Just want you to know, MySpace existed.
But
Tell us.
it's just, I remember him being like, "Yeah, man, download this Instagram. It's going to be big." And I'm like, "What is it?" He's like, "You post these square photos." And I was like, this makes no sense. I'm like, this is, and sure enough, that became, the platform that we kind of built everything on and became the most popular. But, and then until today, you have, like I said, then TikTok became really popular. And it's just going to keep going, man. And it's, I don't know, man. I'm somebody, and I always say this, like, I'm the anti-influencer. I use social media to build brands. But it's like, man, I have such a problem with social media for what it's become and how it's been used as a negative tool, and how it's just become, at the same time, like I said before, like, it consumes people. It's everything they want to be. Is their whole identity is their social media, and their whole, like I said, self-worth, self-value is social media. I'm way off topic here.
Sorry, bro. I can see you reminiscing into a lot of. I go like that. I get into a deep rabbit hole. I start thinking about things, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have. Because listen, how many times do you really go back into and put perspective on things of where you've come from? Do you do that often? Because listen, you've got a hell of a fucking story. We haven't even touched on that. We've talked about everything right now as recent, and we're going to go in and out. Welcome to a podcast for Flex Lewis, by the way, Joey Swoll. But when I go and think back of things, I think, geez Louise, and I've said this many times in the podcast, but when I came to this country, I came here with this crazy confidence that it was going to work out. Now I look back, I wouldn't tell anybody, advise anybody what the route I went. I was like this young kid who met one person. They told me, it's like, hey, you should come to America. Should I? Okay, what do I do? Let's go. On a plane, gone. And I was going to make it work. Obviously, you being born and raised here, mum and dad from the other side of the world, obviously, Italian, Irish, but nonetheless, you've been able to create, not only a personal brand that we all know as Joey Swoll, but you've also been able to create, a lot of significant life changes for a lot of people. You've had brands that you've built up, such as Shredz. That company was probably the first influencer-based marketing company that I came across, and now it's the norm. Yeah. You can't really have a company now unless it's really endorsed and promoted with that influencer style. But you guys came out of the blocks and truly went from nothing to something, I feel, very fast. And it was yourself, Arvin, and another business partner. Excuse my ignorance here, but I know that you guys, again, done one hell of a job, man. Tell the story of how you set Shredz up.
So I met Arvin. He had the company Shredz, and he was, doing fat burners, and he was doing more just wholesale. Social media marketing wasn't a thing yet. And I just remember, we started working together, and I had Instagram. I had maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers. I don't remember the number. And I remember I thought to myself, I'm going to take a picture of this bottle, and I'm going to post it. And I'm going to tell people to message me for info if they want to buy.
Such the norm now, Joey.
Dude, and it was that post. I posted that, and I remember I sold like 10 bottles off that post by people messaging me, and all of a sudden, a light bulb. It's like a switch flipped, and we started to build on how to use social media to create traffic, to obviously create sales, and generate leads and things like that. And then at the same time, it was like, well, how do you get more sales? You get more followers. So what can we do to get more followers? Okay, well, this is the niche you're trying to be in. Let's find pages that have that same niche, or the different big bodybuilding pages on social media, and try to work with them. And then it was like, well, if Joey's doing it and it's working, let's see if we can get other athletes to follow that same blueprint. And so we started recruiting athletes, Paige, Devin, all those, great Ainsley, all the great athletes we had from day one. And it just kind of, and don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. There's a lot of sleepless nights of me and Arvin working. Arvin especially, man, he was, when I tell you that guy doesn't sleep, he doesn't sleep, man. He is, and people say this figuratively, but I mean literally, we would be at a diner, a New York diner, living out on the East Coast, 2, 3 in the morning. We'd be sitting there for 2 hours ordering food. We wouldn't say more than 3 words to each other because we were working on our phones. We would get done, go back to, we all lived in the same building. We'd go back to the building, go to 7 a.m. My phone would go off. It'd be Arvin, hey, man, I got an idea for something. Okay, we're up, man. We didn't sleep for like 3 years, 4 years. I don't think Arvin sleeps at all still. But yeah, it became something that we watered, set the groundwork, and it was a matter of, I mean, think about it. We started the company we really got going in 2011. 2013, we had our first booth at the Olympia. 2015, we had the biggest booth in Olympia history I think that was the year of the 50th anniversary, right?
Didn't you spend $1 million in that booth?
Yeah, we spent them on the Total Expo. I had a 60-foot wall of myself, which I didn't ask for.
Such an ego, Joey.
No, listen, man.
Oh my gosh, Titus, look at this guy.
They said they had a surprise for me, and that was the surprise. But that was never me, man. I was, I remember, and I'll tell this story, at that event, at the 2015 Expo, we had a 4-hour line. The line was 4 hours long to get up on stage to meet all the athletes. And the Expo, I think they closed it. I think they shut everything down at 5 o'clock. And everyone started leaving. So 5 o'clock, they started shutting everything down.
Start flickering the lights.
So I think it was still 6:30 came around. Everybody left, every athlete. I stayed. The lights were off, and I stayed to talk to everybody in line, to take photos with everybody. I didn't leave. And we had a dinner and at a banquet hall that we were doing for the entire company. I was late. Me and Arvin showed up late because we stayed behind to talk to all the people that were in line. I'm telling these, I'm like, you waited 4 hours I wouldn't wait 5 minutes to meet me. Like, what are you doing? But I was always good with people. I loved being able, I always tried to give people good memories. I always tried to give them a smile, something more than just a photo, man. Like, who am I? Like, I want to leave those people with an impact. I want them to have a memory, be like, oh, I met Joey one time and, he busted my balls, or, he ate. The best would be, you know how I would always do. It's kind of gross to think about it, but back then you had like all these protein ice cream companies. So you'd have people in line that were eating this protein ice cream. And I always go up like, give me a bite. And I'd give me a bite.
Pre-COVID.
I would feed people in line. I would just put on a show, man. I looked at it as being somewhat of an entertainer and trying to keep people happy. And I just hope, man, I've met thousands and thousands and thousands of people over the years. And I really hope when people look back and remember me, they have like I said, a smile on their face and a good memory.
Yeah, you guys done a great job. I think one thing that stands out for me was you're the first brand to interact with a consumer that I can remember to that magnitude. Yeah. There's always been booths at the Olympia, and I remember the first time I walked through the Olympia doors, I seen the massive Muscle Tech booth. That was like my first experience.
Same here.
I've only ever been to one Olympia that I haven't competed at, and that was my first ever Olympia going as a fan. It was like 2 years before I ended up staying on stage, and of course then, it's game over then. Yeah. Trying to walk around an expo.
The champ is here.
Well, it was just trying to walk around an expo as a fan. I remember having that experience one time and one time only, inconspicuous. Nobody knew who I was. I was a kid with fucking calves and a funny accent. Still am a kid with calves and a funny accent, but not so much a kid anymore. But I remember walking around and just seeing this is the world that I am going to be a part of. This is what I want. This is what I hoped and dreamed, my mother and father would be able to see, because I left the world of rugby. Rugby was kind of a path paved for me. And that came with, to represent your country or whatever, even represent your club, a big honor. But then to come to, a foreign country and then chase a dream, it's kind of like, it's my dream. It's not anybody else's. Nobody else has paved that path. Yeah. And I was going blindly. But to walk into the Olympia and then see, this is the top of the top. This is our Super Bowl. And then to see all these other booths. Of course, Shredz wasn't around at that point in time. But all these booths, if you can remember, were all in contention with one another. And obviously it escalated over the years to you becoming the biggest booth in history of the Olympia, and having that 4-hour line. But when I started working the Olympias, one of the things that I pridefully done, just like yourself, is invest in my fans. I always tried my best to give an experience. It wasn't a quick handshake and a bye. Yeah. And you and I know these athletes, they might have won something, but again, once they've retired, they just have no following, because there was zero memories tied to anything. Yeah. And with you and doing all these things and making people do press ups and you want to earn your photo. I remember them too. Yeah. Let's get some 10 press ups done. But that's the things that these fans remember, and these things then circle back when you do other things in life. But obviously Shredz was a company that you guys took from a concept, these late nights and stuff, to what was it that you ended up taking the company to, figurative wise? What's your evaluation?
Oh, I can't talk like numbers.
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, dude, it was up there.
Yeah, 100 million? Or less? 50 million?
I'm not even gonna guess. I would say 50 to 100.
Yeah.
But you have to understand too, we weren't just Shredz. We had stakes in a lot of companies that nobody even knew. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what I can say and can't say, so I'm trying to kind of teeter the line. But we, even just social media real estate, right? Like, we owned so many fitness pages on Instagram, on social media that we used for other marketing, for shout outs, for, other ways to, like I said, draw traffic and gain that viewership. It was, like I said, at the top, man, it was insane. It was insane what we built. It was so fast. It was only within a few year period. And the cool thing was, and this is something I tell a lot of people is, we had our competitors, people that were in our same, market, that were coming in to see us for advice.
So wild. And
Arvin and, I was coaching athletes, trying to teach kids how to post and get better contracts. Arvin, and all of us, like, Arvin would sit down with the CEOs. I won't name names, no names mentioned, as you say. Arvin would sit down with people from other companies that were direct competitors and give them and give them advice and help them, because like it was just, he loved it so much, man. He loved what he did, and he loved, the kind of the puzzle of figuring out algorithms and how to, continue to improve and innovate. And like I said, I will say with 200% certainty, there are companies today that are crushing it in this space that either took some part of what we did directly, had some influence or direct contact with Arvin, with us, with any of us, and how they built their company. And that's pretty cool to see, man, to know that we were one of the first companies that were approved by Facebook to do Facebook ad spend.
Damn.
We were one of the first ones. I remember that, and they were, I think, met with them in Texas. That's pretty cool, man.
It's
Look
incredible.
back and say we were able to achieve that. And all these athletes today, all these kids today that are making money on social media. I mean, dude, you know how it was back then? I remember we got so much hate at the beginning because, right? Like, I'll tell you a story. I won't name the company, but
you can name whatever you want.
No, because I don't want to bash people.
No, you're good.
So I won my first show. Right, I won my first show I ever did. I placed well. I won enough to get some eyes on me. Did a couple muscle and fitness magazines, which back then it was like, you do muscle and fitness, muscle mag reps, like that was the pinnacle. Yeah. Oh man, I got $150 to do that. I'm sure you got more, but so anyway,
175.
I had a supplement company reach out to me that I loved, big company, and like, hey, we're doing, a product shoot at a local gym in Chicago. We would love for you to be a part of it. So here's me thinking, I could be a sponsored athlete. And this was like the dream, right? To be a sponsored athlete. And we're emailing about the dates. I'm staying in great shape after the show. I'm so excited. And we're getting close. And I asked him several times, what's the compensation? What, do I get a salary? Do I get a contract? He's like, oh, you know what? We'll give you $500 a month in free supplements, and you could sell it to your friends to make money. I thought to myself, you want me to fucking hawk my friends to make money, but you want to use my image in your product catalog that you're going to send to every store all over the world. This is one of the biggest companies there is. And I'm like, no, man, not interested. No, thank you, man. And that was kind of one of the things where I was like, man, fuck this industry and fuck that. Pardon my language, Mom. But then I fast forward a couple years later, this is great. That same guy, I'm at the Arnold Brazil, right? That same guy that I was talking to that wouldn't, sign me, walks in with a group of girls that were working with him, 5 or 6 girls. I'm sitting there with Arvin. We're getting some food at the restaurant in the hotel. Every single girl came up to me to ask to take a photo with me. And I remember standing up like, hey, I will call him John. Hey, John, good to see you, man.
John, right?
Yeah. And I was but I was very nice to him, and I wasn't vindictive or anything. But it was like, we got so much hate because we squashed that whole, you're going to get, if you're an athlete, you're getting $500 a month in supplements. No, like I remember having a conversation with, we had a girl who worked for us, Ainsley. Hardcore Ainsley was her name.
Hardcore Ainsley, yeah. I remember.
Ainsley was the shit.
She was like one of the faces, her and Paige.
Yeah, she was awesome, and she still is. She is a hustler. You want to talk about a businesswoman and a smart, independent, like strong, fucking feminine woman. She was awesome. She was one of the best people I've ever met, and that's and just in life. But she was working for a supplement company already, and I was trying to recruit her. And I was like, hey, I'm like, listen, come over. She's like, well, I'm getting $150 a month from company X. And I was like, come to me, you'll make 6 figures a year. She's like, no, I won't. She's like, you're full of shit. And she didn't believe me. But she got on the phone with Arvin, got on the phone with me. She did it. And sure enough, she was crushing it. She was one of the highest paid female people in the space. And all of our athletes did really well, as long as they, did what they were supposed to and put the work in. And we kind of took that norm of paying athletes free supplements, so we got a lot of hate from a lot of companies because we were doing that.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why you had the target on your back, right? Because you were going against the grain. These guys and, these companies that have been able to pay athletes, the bare minimum based on, the opportunity, to be with X and the free publicity or whatever it was. Remember, I've had it spilled to me too. I never went with that. I never got jaded by that. You then were able to take your company on. And I think that's one of the reasons why you had that big target on your back. I'm sure there was companies that got together to try and pull you down. And obviously that bubble burst. How hard was it to see that timeline where everything that you work for and a lot of people were attacking you, even whether it was truth or not, to see this concept that you took, you were able to then, change people's lives, create a business from nothing, then just kind of fall.
Yeah, it was very hard. It was a tough couple, I would say like an 18-month period, because again, it's like people were starting rumors, and once something gets posted, whether it's true or not, it's out there, and you could defend yourself till you're blue in the face, and people are still gonna hear about it. And I mean, I've had people say things about me my entire career, and at this point, man, I'm just like, I love when people say stuff like, if you got a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, I shouldn't worry about what you think about me. But no, it was very hard because we built a movement. We built something that affected so many lives, and we built our Shredz army and things like that, and it was like a family, man. It was a family. Unfortunately, we had and I was a little bit older, and maybe I should have taken better lead, but we had a lot of young kids that's what they were. They were young kids. They got a lot of money real fast. They came off as being arrogant, and just being kids, being kids, no different than some of these athletes today. And, it just became, and there were some more things that played into it, but it became cool to kind of hate on us on social media and some of our athletes. And people came at me, and, I always tried to there were certain lines they crossed, like my mom. Like there was a post that said, my mom was battling cancer, and she was getting ready to go in for surgery. So I had a photo of me and my mom before she was about to have a lung removed. And they put, a meme up, too bad Shredz doesn't cure cancer. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, I kind of thought to myself, I was being really cool. I was trying to stay level and calm. And I thought to myself, I'm going to find this person. Like, it's my fucking mom, dude. I'll kill you. And I did, and I said some things. I remember there were some screenshots. I had people say some things about my mom. And I would say things, back like, why don't you walk into traffic, or, I'm going to find you, or just like, being a typical hot-headed Irish Italian kid when you come at my mom, and they screenshot that and post that, and I'd be like, what would you do if somebody came at your mom and her cancer right when she started fighting it? But it was tough, man, because you build this company and you think this is it, this is the end game, you're set for life, your parents are set for life. And then people just start making rumors, and people can say what they want, man. People can say what they want till they're blue in the face. There's people out there still till today that say things and accuse me of things and say things about the company. And I'm just like, where the fuck are you getting this information from? It's like one of the things that I see a lot of people have said is like that it was a scam, that the products were fake. And I'm like, we were literally getting made in 2 factories. We were being manufactured in 2 factories, one on each side of the country, that produce some of the top supplements in the world. Do you really think these factories would allow you to put bullshit in their product? Do you think they would really say, we're going to put fake products in products, or we're going to put fake, ingredients in these products to sell them? No, man. Like, what? Like, we're like, and it's like, okay, I was taking these products. I was taking our protein, taking our BCAAs. It's like, do you think I was, even though, like I said, I wasn't an owner. I wasn't on the board. I was promised, things, but it never came through.
Oh wait, you weren't?
No, I was not.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I was not.
So wait, Joey, wait.
I had no say.
So hold on a minute. So,
in that sense.
I want to talk about this because I know what you can and can't talk about, but listen,
you just have to be
I'm going to say
I
understand totally legalities. Listen, we've had a lot of people on this so far, and I will try to get truths. But when it comes to that, man, that's new for fucking me. I thought that you significantly were getting compensated for the Shredz movement. Yes, through through you being the athlete.
Yeah.
But you never had the ownership perks?
No, I never was an owner. I was promised, like I said, long term I was promised certain things, like, when we sold and things like that. And I have listen, I love Arvin like a brother, and I don't think he would have ever left me out to dry. Like, if we would have sold and the company would have done what it was supposed to do, I would have been well taken care of. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was told I would, get equity and stuff over time, and did that happen? But that's okay. Listen, I know the respect I got from Arvin and the other people at the company. A perfect example. We had a huge office in downtown New Jersey, and there was a new kid that just got hired. And I'll tell you 2 stories. These are pretty cool. Just about the respect.
We love stories, Joey.
There was a new kid that just got hired, and we're sitting there at HQ, and we're in the meeting room, and we're going over stuff. And at that time, we were going to, I think I could say this, we were talking to people from Jennifer Lopez's camp about possibly doing a line for her.
Wow.
A female line for her. And there were all kinds of things coming our way. And we're sitting there at the, kind of the table, and one of the kids makes a comment like, new kid, no fucking clue who this kid is. He says something like, if Jennifer, if J-Lo doesn't do it, we could always get Joey to be the new female, face. And Arvin stood up, made everybody leave the room, but this kid and me, sat him down. He said, that fucking desk you work at? Joey paid for that. That fucking, that break room that you eat your fucking lunch in? Joey paid for that with his fucking work over the past 5, 6, 7 years. Or who the fuck are you?
Wow.
And he always had my back like that. And another story, we had a kid that drove up from Alabama. I remember. It's actually a pretty cool story. We had a kid that drove up. This kid Mikey, good kid, man. I used to call him Buffalo. Huge kid. Drove up from Alabama, wanted to work for us. Drove up to New York, slept outside the office just to get a meeting with us. And he walked in for his interview. And there's more to this, but he walked in for his interview. And our thing at Shredz is we didn't read resumes. We ripped up your resume. Who gives a fuck what, where you've gone to school or what you've done? All we care about is if you want to work hard and you want to innovate, and if you're passionate about what you do. And I was like, all right, you know what your job interview is? You and Joey go train. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go.
Shut up.
So we went to the gym to train, and this is a cool story. He ended up working for us, did a great job for us, managed a lot of stuff. Mike Krause, and good kid, man. But I called him the Buffalo. He was fucking huge. Such a big, Southern Alabama boy. And so we went to train. That was probably, 2013, 2014, right? So fast forward, me and him are still friends come like 2018, 2019, 2017, 2018. And we go train, we go to work out. And he says, Joe, you know what I love about you? He pulls up a photo from the first time we trained that one day when I took him to the gym. He's like, you got the same fucking sweatpants on and the same beat up shoes that you had on. He's like, you've made, I've done well financially. He's like, you never bought cars. You never spent it on fucking, dumb shit. You took care of your parents. You bought your parents' cars, paid for paid for rent for your mom. And you're still wearing the same beat up old shoes and sweatpants that you wore 4 or 5 years ago when I first met you. Because I was never, that's one thing about me is, and I think that came with, when I started, when I was a little bit older when Shredz was starting. So I was good with I was a save your money kind of guy. I was never a, go out and buy a Porsche or, Lambo or
Wait, Joey.
Fancy Junior.
Why? Because a lot of your team is up buying Lambos and GTIs.
Which is fine. Listen, if that's what you're into, by all means, do what you got to do, but
just no interest.
People till this day, people ask, what's your dream car? I'm like, I never had a dream car. Cars to me were getting from A to B. Like my dad had a beat up truck, right? I didn't. You know what I always tell people I hate when you hear people say I came from nothing just because they were poor. Listen, we didn't have money. I had a mom and a dad. They got married the day after my mom turned 18. Had 4 kids. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was a waitress, right? How they made things work. I mean, we moved a lot. We definitely had some money problems, but how they made things work, I will never understand. Like, they went through, like, you want to talk about people today that break up over dumb shit, like a like on Instagram or some stupid text. Try being parents to 4 kids with no money, trying to put food on the table, you know, and I'm sure you could relate to some of this too. And, you know, it just blows my mind. But I hate when people say, back to what I was saying, I always tell people I didn't come from much financially or, you know, as far as substance when it came to like physical objects and stuff or the nicest house. But you know what I came from? I came from a great family that taught me love, respect, kindness, work ethic, compassion, not to judge people by the color of their skin or, you know, any of their, you know, things that, society tries to separate us by. You know, I'll tell you a story, man, about my mom. I know we love stories, but
I love stories.
This is my story about racism and about race and why I love my mom so much. I was playing baseball. This gets me sometimes, but I was playing baseball when I was maybe 12, 13, right? And I'm playing on a traveling baseball team. We're at an all-star game at this, what's called Horner Park in Chicago. It's the worst field in the city. It is beat up, broken down. It is horrible. But the best teams go to this tournament because it is the best tournament with the best teams. It's been there. It's a tradition. And we go, and we're a primarily white team, and we're playing Horner Park, which is primarily Latino and black. So there's some jawing between the parents. My mom never sat with the parents. She's a very pale-skinned Irish woman. So she's sitting down the left field line under a tree in the shade. Mm-hmm. And I always knew where she was because she was always the loudest supporter and loudest. She would cheer so loud for me, man, to this day. I play center field. Ball gets hit in the gap. Black kid's up to bat. Ball's hitting the gap. He's rounding second base. There's a hole in the field because the fields aren't kept. These are terrible fields. He snaps and breaks his ankle. I throw the ball into my cousin Dominic. This kid screams at the loudest. Everything stopped. The whole place stopped, silent, and all you hear is this kid screaming. Not one parent, black or white, went out there to help that kid. All of a sudden, from left field, coming down into the infield, is this little redheaded Irish woman. Runs out there, helps the kid up, carries him off the field. And she sat with him on the sideline, got him a snow cone, some ice, called an ambulance for him. You had all these parents that are yelling, jawing at each other, race, hate. But when it came down to it, to help somebody, nobody did a fucking thing but my mom. And she went out there, and she helped them. And to me, that is my lesson on how I treat people and how I look at people. And that's why she's my hero, her and my dad. So, thanks. You made me cry on your show.
You got me going too, Joey. You got any tissues yet, Tyus? No.
Oh, man. It got me good. I feel like Cuba Gooding Jr. on what's it called? What's the movie with Tom Cruise where he's the NFL receiver?
What is it, Tyus?
What's the movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.?
You're talking about Show Me the Money?
Yeah, Kelly Preston, Tom Cruise, where he's like, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
As you're crying.
Oh, man. Where he's an agent. What's the movie? What is that movie called?
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
It's coming. I knew it.
I'm the biggest movie buff, and I can't believe I didn't remember that. But I feel
okay.
like I'm
in the
kind of
emotion.
the show where he's like, they try to talk about his family. He's like, I'm not going to cry. They give him his contract, and he starts crying. Oh, man. But things like that, man, that's why I'm so proud of where I came from. My mom, and not just my immediate family, my brothers, my sisters, who I love more than anything. I'm the baby of a family of 6, but in my family, man, your cousins are your big brothers, your aunts are your second moms. We all lived in little neighborhood in Chicago of, firemen and cops and criminals, little Irish Italian neighborhood. And we were together all the time. But that's, the stuff that my parents taught me. That's why I look at a lot of people today and I'm just like, didn't your parents teach you better? Didn't your parents, there's no way you went through life without getting a lesson from your mom and dad that you should know better than to treat somebody that way. But yeah, man, that's one of I have a lot of great stories about my mom. And that was one of them.
Give me another one, Joey. I love the mom stories.
I'll
if it's not you saying it, I'm going to say mine.
So I had a football coach call me the other day. Old football coach from college, Coach Tinsley, Eric Tinsley, great guy. He coached me for 2 years. And I haven't talked to this guy in years and years and years. I get a Facebook call. You can call people on Facebook. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And he calls me, and I'm like, I answer, I'm like, Coach Tinsley? I'm like, dude, just call me on my real phone. So I give him my number, and he calls me, and we're just going over old times. He's like, how's your mom doing? And I'm like, oh, both my parents are doing great. He's like, listen, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. He's like, I don't remember your dad very much because he was so quiet. My dad's a very introverted, quiet person. Very quiet. Sounds like he's a dangerous man, but he's very quiet. My mom was very much like me. She can hang out with anybody, loves to be social. She is the, life of the party type person. And my coach, every coach I ever had, like, and he was just asking how she was because he remembered her from the stands being such a loud supporter for me. I remember, this is the last story I'll tell. I could talk about my mom all day. But I remember Pop Warner, playing Pop Warner football, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I'm sure you know this from rugby. If you fall on top of the ball, it gets you in the stomach, you get the wind knocked out of you, and you're like, you can't breathe for a couple minutes. So I remember I'm literally in the middle of the field, and I must have taken a hand off or something, got hit, and I landed on the ball, knocked the wind out of me, so I couldn't get up. And I'm sitting there laying in the field, like the trainer comes out, George Klein, a great man, and before he could get to me, my mom was there. And I remember him coming up on the field. Marge, you can't be out here. She's like, I don't give a fuck. This is my son. She ran on the field under the ropes, through everybody. There was nobody stopping her. And she was out there, checking on me. And that's just how she is, man. That's how she's always been and how she is. Till this day, she's my number one supporter. Her and my dad are my number one supporters. That's why it's funny, whenever I'm in somebody else's video or somebody wants me to take a video for their social media, no matter who it is, I always say, hi, Mom, because I know somehow, some way she's going to find it. And she's going to, like if I curse in a video, she comes at me, man. Really? You, there's kids following you, or do the best is, I was a bodybuilder, right? So sometimes you post photos in shorts or boxer briefs, and you can see your noodle. You can see noodle. What are you doing? you don't post that stuff. You come on, or anything sexual or anything of that. You represent this family name, and she's always been such a stickler on me, and I'm very grateful for it. She's always been very tough on me. Her and my father. Like I said, my father is my favorite man in the world. He's the greatest man in the world to me, and my mom is. They're both my heroes.
What was it like for you to get your parents that car and pay off the house? And I've now got some tissues next to you, Joey. They're not top of the line, but
well, the house. So the plan is I want to buy my parents a condo this year. I haven't bought them a house yet. Help my sister pay off her house. My parents.
That's what I meant.
I take care of I every month I take care of their rent and stuff like that, and I've been helping them out for years, as you should as a son. I'm not saying that for any type of Joey, good for you. No, dude, that's what you fucking do. You take care of your parents. Period. I don't care what it takes. And that's, again, something that came from our family. Watching my mom and dad take care of their parents, and I've seen, I saw my mom work 2 jobs and still, take care of my nana, her mom, my grandmother, and her father when they were, sick and on their, last days. But I mean, how does it feel? It's the fucking best. Listen, man, like I said, I look at money not in terms of, I could do cool shit like buy myself a car. I look at money as like cool stuff like I want the day to come where I walk into my parents' house at 3 a.m. with a suitcase with $2 million in it.
3 a.m., Joey? What the hell?
Yeah, this is my plan. I want to walk in their house. I want to walk in their place in Chicago at like 2, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Just bash through the door, fucking break the TV, ruin everything, just to be a goof, and then throw a suitcase on the table with $2 million. No, that's a joke, but I always would I'd always bust their chops and say that. But it feels amazing, man. Like I said, I would not be where I am today without a number of people in my life, like my whole family, my coaches, my teachers. I've had great football coaches in my life that have really impacted me. But I wouldn't be where I'm at without my parents. Like, dude, this is the thing that this drives me crazy. This is something I can't stand today. It doesn't drive me crazy, but I love to speak on it. And you get this. People come up to you, oh, man, you're my idol. I'm such a big fan. You know, you're my hero. And I always tell them, I said, no. First off, I don't want a fan. I don't like that word. You want to say you're a follower, that's fine. You want to say you're a friend, even better. But when you say you're a fan of somebody, it's like you put them up here and you're down here, right? I'm not an idol. I'm not your idol. I'm not your hero. If you are lucky enough to have your parents in your life and there's a good relationship, they should be your idols and your heroes. If you're a God-fearing man or woman, that is somebody you put up there. You and me are here. We're equals. Maybe I inspire you. You want to emulate things I do? Great. But guess what? You're going to, whatever level you think I'm on, like you have the opportunity to reach that. You'll never be your parents to you. You know what I mean? Like you'll never be where you see God in your life if you, like I said, are a God-fearing man or woman. And you should never get to a place where you lose that level of, how do I say it? Your parents being above you in terms of how you view them with respect, with love, with admiration. So I always say that to people when I meet them. I always say, don't be a fan, be a friend.
I'll attest to that because yesterday when we were training, I think I overheard you say in the exact same sentence. I think somebody came over and said, and we've also had some side conversation about what it is to us to have the importance of having a platform. Yeah. And, whether you knew this or not, I fucking asked you. I knew, I looked around, there was no cameras or anything else. You answered it exactly how I wanted it to be answered, thinking it was going to be answered as such. You told me exactly how I view my platform, just through your own words, and that is it's a responsibility.
Yes,
you have in my eyes you have a duty with whatever you want to call it, fame. The platform, the followers, to become the best version and show the best version of yourself. Not meaning like, hey, look what I've got. Hey, I think that's what social media has become for a lot of people. It's a window to show and flex and show like, hey, look what I got and you don't. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's like
there's a way to do that where you can say it in a way that isn't arrogant of I'm better than you, but this is what you can achieve.
Yes.
But I've said it for so long, man. People use when did it become I'm better than you because I have more followers than you? When did that become a thing? Like, how does having followers equate to you having a good heart, a good soul, doing acts of kindness, being somebody that simply is a good human being? And that's something I always say is, I am very blessed and grateful to have a very large following. I will never look at that as being me better than anybody. And like you said, I always tell people having followers, especially there's so many kids out there that I want to be famous on social media one day. Listen, man, fame isn't real. Fame isn't real, especially on social media. Being a good person is real. Fame isn't fucking shit. It's a privilege. It's, a blessing, but it's responsibility. And dude, especially in this sport, right? The other day I did a seminar with Sean Ray and everyone was there to see me. And there are people who didn't know who Sean Ray was. And I'm like, that is fucking bullshit. In this sport, I didn't win Olympias. I didn't compete at national levels. Do I have a voice? Yeah, and I try to use that for good, but I'll tell you another story. I'll tell you another good story.
Get comfy, tie your sweat in for a couple more. He's saying there's one more, 10 more go.
Listen, we're here.
We are. There is no time limit.
You said 7 hours. So when Shredz really started to get popular and we had Paige, Devin, Nate, we had a ton of great athletes. I took them all to Golds. We went to the LA Fit Expo. So we had everybody fly out to California. Me and Arvin, we took them to the LA Fit Expo. They had never been to Golds Venice before. So I was like, we're going to go to Golds. We're going to train at Golds, the Mecca. You have to train at Golds. It's the #1 experience. If you're in, you have to go there once in your life. So we walk in. You know, I've been training there for years. I know a lot of people. Got something on my face? I thought you were signaling to me. Oh, you? I thought you were looking at me like I had something like I was,
for everyone on Spotify that's listening, I was just wiping my mouth, and Joey kind of was like, well, I've got something in my mouth.
I thought you were signaling to me. I got something on my face.
Get back into that story, Joey.
Anyway, so I take all the athletes to Golds. I walk in, you know, I know the front. I've been going there for years. You know, I lived there for a number of years, training there.
Yeah.
See Charles Glass. Charles comes up, gives me a hug. Joey, how you doing? You know, oh, Charles, what's going on? You know, how you doing? Good to see you, sir. I go to the group of athletes. I say, you guys know who that is, right? It's Charles Glass. They're like, no. I said, get the fuck out of here. Everyone go in the fucking parking lot. You research who Charles Glass is, then you can come back in.
Come on.
Yeah. But again, you got to think they're 20-year-old kids, 21-year-old kids. But still, this is what kind of drives me crazy about this sport is the kids today that have the arrogance to think that they're here without acknowledging or respecting the great bodybuilders that built this.
Pave the path.
Like, if you don't know you can go back to the 50s and 60s, but if you don't know the people over the past 20, 30, 40 years and more, these great men and women that built this sport, and you think you're just here by chance or you feel like you're better than them, then fuck you, man. Do your homework. Know who Flex Wheeler is. Know who Kevin Levrone is, Sean Ray, Lee Priest, Reeves, Platts. Know these greats that really kind of put this sport on the map. And these kids, they think they have followers and that they're better than people. And they don't, listen, you don't have to compete, but don't think that for a second that your contribution to this sport is going to be greater than the guys that compete, the men and women who do compete.
Because a lot of them guys done it before there was any type of press.
Yeah.
Magazines were the only thing.
Exactly.
And you had to move from all over the world just to go to Santa Monica to hope that your physique was good enough to make a magazine.
Bro, Samir Banut walked into Golds a few years ago while I was there and got into a fight with the front desk. They wouldn't give him a bag for a shirt that he bought and paid for. Meanwhile, he's on the wall.
1983, Mr. Olympia.
He's on the wall. This is one of the greats.
Lebanese Lion.
And he was in town for his induction into the Hall of Fame.
Oh my
I remember
gosh.
that. I remember just thinking to myself,
Scandalous.
wow. Just wow. And again, listen, I'm not trying to take away. I think there are some really good young men and women in the sport that have a good head on their shoulders. We talked about that yesterday with you, with that one young gentleman that you've helped and coached.
Rafael Brando.
Yeah.
Dominic Cardone.
Dom Cardone's great, man. I love watching his stuff.
He's a good kid.
I love Dom, man. I remember when he first came out with those wheels, man. I love Cardone's great, man. He's somebody like he's just a no bullshit guy. Listen, he is New York through and through. He is no bullshit. He knows his stuff. You know what I love about him? And like is this stigma, and we talked about this a little bit, like the stigma of if you are a bodybuilder, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Let me tell you something.
Fucking love that.
These successful people in this sport, especially coaches, they're the next thing down from a doctor when it comes to certain things, as far as their knowledge about, the anatomy, the science, whether it's what you eat or what you put in your body, not to mention the physiology of the training and everything. Like these guys are some of the smartest people you ever meet. And Dom's one of them, man. Like I said, I enjoy listening to him, man. He's somebody, if I was a young kid and I was going to compete, he would be somebody I would consider to be a coach. Somebody I would go to.
What a referral, Tyus, huh? I mean, listen, I could say that, but I'm biased. Now, I've known Dom since he was 15 years old. Exactly. I remember Dom when he had his supplement store in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And him and his dad had a supplement store, and they were both hustling hard, trying to make it work. And, Dom got signed with Gaspari at a very young age as a teen, he won the teen. And he went on to, have a fantastic career. Obviously, he reached a crossroads. And he's been on the podcast too. He told his story. And what a story too of basically, he lost his mum. you know, he had that house fire, lost all the footage and photos of his mum, and had to start from scratch again. And again, one thing about Dom, all that stuff he's gone through genuinely has not affected his outlook on life.
Yeah.
He may have surrounded himself with the wrong people because of, you know, circumstances, looking for a brotherhood or looking for whatever. But where I found myself years later back with Dom was a weird circumstance, and I'll quickly tell you a story. I was moving out here. Not many, but the circle of circles knew about me coming out here. I get this random text from Dom. He says, "Hey, can I hit you up? Can I call you?" Of course, I say, he's like a little brother to me. Obviously, we became closer, but he jumps on a call. We're talking. He said, "Hey, Flex, and you know, Tom, he's so polite and such a nice guy, beating around the bush."
Good parents. That's what you get when you have good parents.
Yeah, exactly. Beating around the bush. "Hey, do you mind if I come out to Florida? I know what you're doing at the Dragon's Lair," because I had the private gym and I had select athletes that I brought in for camp for me. You know, these guys, I looked at it like fighting. I brought the best people in to be around, mentally, physically. So I was selectively bringing people in. "I want to come out to be around you and them guys." I look at, actually it was a text message. I said, "Hey, Dom, you free later?" I spoke to my wife. I said, "Hey," she knows what I love, Dom. "Tell him." "You sure?" "Tell him." Yeah. So I jumped on the call. I said, "Hey, Dom, I'm moving to Las Vegas." "You gotta be kidding me." I said, "Don't think of moving. I'm coming here. When I move here, we'll build the gym. We'll train together for the Olympia. You get back on that stage." And in the process, obviously, you guys know what's listening, and obviously yourself, never ended up getting back on that Olympia stage. But me and Dom both found themselves in a situation where we were trying to get on stage for the wrong reasons. And through our brotherhood and through other various different things that were going on, we found different passions. And I feel he tremendously, whether he's listening to this or not, you know, bro, I fucking miss you daily. I seen him last week. Good guy. When you have guys like that around you, it's hard to find. So, fucking hell, Tyus. Fucking Joey corrected this bullshit, no? But anyways, so I seen him last.
Dom, you made Flex cry.
Yeah. Well, he's a good dude.
He is a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And when you got good people around you, and you invest in people,
exactly,
and then you get to see the best version of them coming through, and then he fucking leaves me. No, but he's gone on. What I found about Dom was he rediscovered a passion for MMA.
Oh,
and
nice.
He changed his whole physique. So imagine, you know, just like me, I built myself up all these years. I'm not crying, by the way. I just got shit in my eyes.
He is crying.
No, I'm not.
That's okay. It's okay, Flex.
So he rediscovered a passion, which shout out to guys like Eric Nixick who own Extreme Couture. They brought him in. He's the cliche bodybuilder. He's like, "I'm not the cliche body." Worked his ass off to get that weight off, and now he's training in around the American top team, around some of the best athletes. So that's his new drive. His goal is to get into a cage.
Good for him, man. That's awesome.
His daily day is driven by that, and of course, you know what he's doing. To your point, as a coach, so proud of him. I look at him as probably one of the best coaches in the game for the reasons that we started off this podcast. Yeah. Health is wealth.
Protocol, yeah, and everything.
He makes sure that every one of his athletes get full blood work. He won't even touch people if they don't get the blood work and he don't see what he needs to see. Because, again, he's in this for the right reasons. Yeah. Not just for that little, 84 wins.
Yeah, most coaches would just take a paycheck and take a notch on the belt where he cares about that person's actual, like them sustaining a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So them young guys that we were talking about and kind of picking up what you said, that you have invested in. The young guys that you've seen and kind of helped through. You know, he was one of them guys for me. Obviously, Dallas, R.I.P., was another one. And then Rafael Brando. So, I still got some really good people around me, but they seem like they're all the same age. 28, 29, 30. And there's you and I who have just turned 40. Congratulations, as the one that's gone over the hill already. I'm coming up in November.
Well, listen, man. You know what? We lost 2 years to COVID, so I think.
Ah,
I think we
Joey
should
Swoll.
Listen, I think we should get a mulligan. I think we should all get 2 years. So I'm okay saying 37, 38 for a couple of years, and not feeling bad about it.
Yeah,
I think we all deserve that.
I remember what I was going to say. With yourself being so open and honest on social media, you were talking about, showing the best sides and then people showing whatever else. You've done a great job, Joey, of showing a side that a lot of people won't, especially when you were going through your addiction. I remember waking up one day and seeing a post I messaged you on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a photo of a bed that was absolutely soaked, which kind of was like, what the hell is this? It wasn't something that would normally get posted on Instagram, let alone see something from yourself, because, we're all used to posting a consistency of style and looks and whatever else, and that was so odd. And it was a figure of a soaked bed. And underneath that was basically you just being open and honest and talking about what you've gone through and what you were battling. And I mean, for you to get to that point and say, this is me, this is what I've gone through, and this is what I'm going through right now. Obviously, it must have been tough, no question. And you were battling, I'm sure, in silence. It's probably not, from what I remember you saying, there was not a lot of people that knew that you were going through this, and you put the brave smile on and you doing the Joey Swoll. What point did you say you hit the brakes and said, man, I've got a problem here?
So COVID, I was living in LA, had a beautiful penthouse in LA. Me and the girl I was dating broke up. She moved out. She was down she had moved down with my dogs got her a place in Costa Mesa, big backyard. And I just, being alone in that apartment, shut off from the world, I think that's something the gym really does for me, outside of obviously the physical, part of it, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual. I need to be around people. I need to have the energy of people. So, I didn't have that during COVID. Couldn't see my family. Couldn't be there to celebrate my mom's, being cancer free when she was 5 years in remission. Was going through a lot of battles, business wise, personal relationships, and I got to a point. I remember it was, there was a night I was sitting at my place, completely by myself, and I was just like, "Fuck it, man. What's the point? I'm done. I've had a great life. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of feeling like, I give and I give and I give, and there's nobody there for me when I need them. A lot of people turned their backs on me. A lot of people had put knives in my back. I was just tired. So I remember I put a post up that night, saying, hey, if I ever die young, just know I lived a great life. Don't mourn me. Celebrate my life. And I wrote this long, basically suicide note. And I posted it. And I think I had like maybe 14 or 15 Vicodin left in the bottle. I took every one. Sat down on the couch, had a beer in my hand, and took every pill I had. And my phone rings, and it's my mom. Crying. What's wrong? Something's wrong. I just saw your post. Mom, I'm fine. It's just a post. Don't worry about it. I don't mean anything by it. No, I know something's wrong. You're not yourself. You're going through a lot. She had no idea what I was, going through as far as the drugs and stuff, but something's wrong. Something's, talk to me. I'm like, no, Mom, I'm okay. I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. And I settled her down, and I got off the phone with her. I remember just sitting there thinking, I don't want to die. And I remember just sitting there thinking, fuck, man, what if I don't wake up? I just took a fucking whole bottle of pills. Thank God. I prayed. I definitely prayed. And I did wake up the next day, thank God. and decided to, that was pretty much me saying, I have a fucking problem here. I need to do something about it. Got out of LA because it was so toxic for me. Everything was shut down, man. So I moved down to Newport Beach, Orange County, Costa Mesa area. Everything was open. Right? People, I remember, you know, you drove the streets of LA at that time, or like you would be just to even go to try and get food at the grocery. Like it was, the streets were dead, man. There was nobody out. There was no energy. It was so, the vibe was so negative. The energy was so just toxic, and it definitely affected me amongst a lot of other things. I remember driving down to Orange County to look at a house, to move down there, to be closer to my dogs, to, you know, my ex, and try my best to maybe try to save that. I remember seeing families outside walking their kids, people waving, you know, American flags flying. And I remember I looked at a house. The house wasn't even done yet, and they were putting it up for rent. And I literally walked in the front door, and the guy's trying to show it to me. I'm like, I'll take it. He's like, what? I'm like, I'll take it. When can I move in? He's like, yeah. 2 weeks later, I was in that house. I remember the next few days, I had to keep messaging them, being like, take this off the site. It's not for rent anymore. I'm taking it. I need to get out of LA. And I got down, you know, to Orange County. You know, at that point, I decided I needed a break from social media. And I had already been taking somewhat of a break from everything, and I kind of needed a mental, you know, just shut the engines off and take a break from all that, because I've been doing it for 10, 11 years nonstop.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I decided to get clean, and took the steps necessary for that. And then after I got clean, and I'd finally kind of gotten over that hump, I started to think to myself, I kind of owe it to, you know, I've tried to share life experience with people to help them my entire life when it came to fitness and nutrition and, you know, other battles I was going through. Nothing like this. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. Maybe, you know, I was pretty sure I was going to lose some friends over it. I knew I was going to lose maybe some potential endorsements or sponsorships or business relations. And I put that post up, which was, it was, you know, withdrawal. I was going through withdrawals, and, you know, just sweating through my sheets. And you literally see like the outline of my body, like my back, like on the things. I remember I got up, I couldn't sleep, man. You know what's crazy? When I was going through trying to get clean, like I didn't sleep. And shout out to my guy Tomas at Self-Made, because, and, you know, Self-Made and Earned, this guy Kai that was over at Earned, 2 gyms that were right there. You know, I paid for my memberships, but I had keys to both gyms. So when I couldn't sleep, and it was 3, 4 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep, I went to the gym. I was in there 3, 4 in the morning banging weights, man. And I would go home, start my day, eat, 12 o'clock, back in the gym. 6 o'clock at night. I was in there 2, 3 times a day.
Wow. And
that saved me. But I remember, so I put that post up. And again, no names mentioned. I had several people that I knew in this world, this space, that reached out to me and were like, bro, I had no idea. I went through the same thing. What? You? Really? No fucking way. I would never believe that. Yeah. Like some people that you would never think, you know, had dealt with opiates or opioids and gone through that type of addiction. But it was more common than I thought. And that turned into people starting to reach out to me, not coming to me for help like Joey coached me through this, but hey man, you gave me the strength, you know, to try to get clean myself. And I talked to a lot of people. I would sat on the phone with people 2, 3 in the morning, strangers, people that were just messaging me out of the blue. Always, of course, very safely saying, listen, if you need to talk to a medical professional, that's what you need to do. I'm not giving you the solution. I can tell you what I did for me, but I'm not saying that works for you. And a big part of that was the gym. The gym saved my life when it came to that. That's another reason I'm so passionate about trying to, I don't want to say fix gym culture, because I'm not going to be arrogant enough to say I could fix it, but to make it better to the point where people that need help can get it through the gym, and the people that would be candidates to maybe have that type of transformation, you know, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, you know, and have that, you know, same passion for the gym as I had, and it saved me, so that they can have that too.
How did you get addicted, Joey?
No names mentioned. You know, 16 years of football, followed by, you know, I've been in the gym now 20 years, but at that time, 16, 17 years in the gym, get a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of injuries. You know, got a tear in my tricep tendon, got no cartilage in my knee, 2 tears in my knee, you know, 2 broken vertebrae, bulged discs. My left shoulder I need a complete shoulder replacement. You know, we talked about that yesterday. I got tons of bumps and bruises, but I'll never stop training. Like you know how it is, man. You have, it's like yesterday with your back. You're like, I'm fucking training. Like you fight through the pain. I remember I had a buddy one time. He was. It's not his fault. I don't blame anybody else but me. He was like, I remember it was nighttime and I was just in a lot of pain. He's like, man, try one of these. And he gave me. I never took pills, and that wasn't a big, not even ibuprofen. And he gave me a Vicodin. And I remember just taking it and being like, fuck, man, this feels great. And I was able to do my work. I was happy. And that was kind of like the taste. And then, you know, once, and I didn't get hooked right away, but once in a while, if I had severe pain, I was like, this isn't bad. And then COVID and the pandemic came, and it turned into being alone in your, you know, house at night, completely just in need of something to make you feel good. And it became the dependency on that was, you know, popping a bunch of pills and having a couple beers. You feel like you're on top of the world. You go from feeling like you're this lowest of lows to everything's going to be okay, man. Everything's going to be great. You are going to do great things. Life is going to be great. You're going to fix things. And it's just an empty promise, man, because the next morning you wake up and it's all the same.
If not worse.
Yeah.
Was this a script that the doctor had written you?
No. I mean, I had some before that doctors had given me, obviously, for injuries and stuff like that, but no, this was not from the doctor, no.
On your worst day, how many you were taking?
15 at a time. That one night, I fucking tried to kill myself. I would say daily throughout the day, man. I probably got up to teens, 15, 20
a day
at a time. I mean, there were points I was doing 8 to 10 at a time.
In a handful, just
yeah. I can't even remember, man. It was let's just say the person that I was using to get them was a friend. he was somebody that was at my place often. Yeah, pretty much all of the pandemic, all of that first part of the pandemic, up until I got clean. Fall 2020. It'll be 3 years this October, November. It'll be 3 years.
So why was it that you decided to take this to the public and not try and battle this in silence? Was it a duty that you felt to maybe
No.
to?
You know, I would love to sit here and say, and be like this hero of, I wanted to help other people. Yeah, of course, that's part of it. I've helped a lot of people, and I know I've spoken up about it, and I've talked to people.
Yeah, you have, Joey.
But it helped me too, man. It's a great feeling to get something off your chest, to be open about something that maybe isn't discussed as much, especially when you are a man, right? Men were not supposed to have these types of problems or go through, you know, certain things that deal with mental health and things of that nature. And again, I'm not saying that you have to sit here and be vocal about every little problem you have, but what I went through was very serious. And, you know, I think, like I said, it all goes back to if social media wasn't a thing, would I have had an addiction? Probably not, right? Would I have gone through, you know, some of the things I went through if social media wasn't a thing? No, I wouldn't have. 100% I wouldn't have. And again, like I said, man, everybody today on social media wants to be social media famous.
Yeah.
That's something else I talk about, is I try to push that, you know, fame isn't real. You can have all the followers in the world, but that's not going to make you happy, man. None of that stuff. It's all temporary. Like you said, it's all fake. So that definitely plays a huge part. I don't want people to, like I said, equate their value and their self-worth to likes and views and, you know, those things that, like I said, are so instantly gratifying and give you that dopamine rush. But in the end, it's empty, man. It's all empty. So for me, it was also a transformation, right? Like I changed in so many ways.
Yeah.
Over the past 3 years. You know, I don't really get angry much anymore about a lot of things. I let a lot of things go. I'm a lot more cool and calm. I have a lot more perspective on life. Became a better partner, you know, which was really big for me. You know, I can't even imagine what it had to be dating me, to be living with me, to be trying to build a life with me, and to sit there and see me drowning myself with pills and, you know, not trying to get help or not trying to get away from it. Like I can only imagine how helpless, you know, she must have felt, and at the same time maybe scared that I was going to never, you know, not wake up one day. So I needed, like you said yesterday, man, we want to be the best versions of ourselves and find ways to do that, you know, and once that is in the gym, what else could it be? I want to be a good man, right? I think I am a good man, but I want to be somebody that leaves the world a little better place than it was before me.
And with all these people you've helped out in the past, all the millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars that you've helped, you know, with these athletes that you've set up, and how many of these people were you around, or were around for you when you hit rock bottom?
Nobody.
I kind of knew that answer before asking it.
I'll say this: when one of the lowest points for me is one of the nights I was feeling really down, and this is actually I should just tell this completely transparently. The night that I tried to end it, I texted somebody that I had been there for many times, took care of, made sure in so many ways they were okay, been there. I texted them and I said, hey, I feel like I might do something stupid. I need somebody. And their response was, you know, I don't feel like driving 45 minutes right now.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. And to me, I thought to myself, wow, this is somebody that says they love me, somebody that's supposed to be, you know, in my circle, somebody that I've literally saved, that I've done so much for. And you don't want to drive 45 minutes to save my life? Okay. Why the fuck is my life worth anything then? You know, what's the point? And that was kind of what kind of tipped me over, and I was like, well, fuck it then, man. So.
Sad, bro. I mean, listen, I think we've got very similar stories, and obviously I've not been in them shoes, but when you've done a lot for other people and then you kind of ask for the smallest of thing, and it's not reciprocated, right? It's tough to, it's a tough thing. And being in the mindset that you were, and I'm sure you expressed that to your friend too, well, ex-friend, I hope.
No, you know, nope.
No?
No, let me tell you something. That's something I've changed over the past few years. I used to be a very vindictive person.
Okay.
I was very much if you hurt me, I'm biblical. Like I tenfold, man. Like I fucking make sure you feel it. And that started very young. I had a girl that I dated in high school that cheated on me. So I hooked up with her two best friends. I made sure
not just one, two
at the same time.
Oh my God.
And I made sure she knew about it. And I made sure it stung. And that was my perception for a very long time. And I've come to the realization over the past few years that hurt people. And so when people come at me or try to hurt me, I know, especially like strangers on the internet, right? When people say things, I know that they're not really trying to hurt me. They're hurting themselves. So I've always thought that. And the other thing is this. You see people always say things like, do it to prove the haters wrong. You know, everybody wants vindication. Everybody wants revenge. It's like, no, man, fuck that. Don't do it to prove the haters wrong. Do it to prove those that love and support you right. Even if the only person that supports you is yourself. Don't let anybody that doubts you or hates on you have any part of your success or any part of what you want to become as a human being to say that you're proud of who you are.
Yeah, well, listening to this, obviously, I'm sure your story is, it's inspiring, and even for the viewers that are listening to this, maybe it resonates to a situation that they're going through right now. What advice would you give somebody that's listening to this podcast that's listening and thinking, man, this is my story, and I recognize this, and how did you then become strong enough to not go back and pop that pill bottle open and go all over it again?
I think anything that I've spoken about on this show, whether it's about, fitness and health, or if it's about, the addiction, or, just treating people with it's a one day at a time thing. It's a win the day type of attitude. And what's crazy is the addiction community is like a family. It's a very strong community, and it's just, to me, it reminds me so much, like it parallels the gym community so much. And there's a lot of people in both. The support that I've gotten from the gym community and, like I said, people in the addiction community has been incredible. My advice to people would be, like I said, one day at a time. I understand you could feel like you're in a prison. I can understand it feels like there's no hope, but if you try to win the day, that builds up. It builds up. That was the biggest thing with me. That was my mentality, was just, build up a string of days, man, where you're having good days and you're not doing it, and you're, and get yourself off. And that became my path. That was how I achieved getting clean and really anything that I've done in life. It's always just, what can I do now? What can I do today to put myself in a place to achieve that or become that?
And right now, obviously, you've done that. You've moved on. You've learned your lessons. Now you're dating a beautiful young lady who's also in the fitness industry. Also, she's a full-time firefighter.
Yes.
Obviously, I followed the relationship blossoming, and one thing I know with you, Joey, is everybody's kind of looking at your dating life, right? They were like, who is he going to be dating? Because one time, Joey was a single man of the town. Let's be honest, right?
I absolutely was.
We've worked a few expos together, and I kind of looked over. I was like, Joey, I'm sure you were with somebody else the other night. But anyway, that's another story for another time. Mom is watching.
Yes.
But now the Joey,
she knows.
She knows. So does my mom.
Dude, she will tell this. She literally will. She had to tell girls to stop calling the house. She knows.
My mom has seen things she'll take to the grave. Listen, she's even told my wife, she's like, you better believe the guy you're with right now has changed significantly compared to what used to be when he was playing rugby. But the dating life for you now, it seems like you've really got a great foundation, and I think that is the key to everything, right? Foundation. I have a home life that I truly love. I look forward to and I nurture. Yes, I play the role of Flex Lewis, but then I go home and I'm dad, I'm husband, and every Saturday, no compromises. If I'm obviously not on the road, that's family day. Yeah. I don't talk about the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't train. It's all about waking up and being dad. Yeah. And that's a line in the sand. Of course, obviously, not every weekend that can happen. But obviously, listen, I work all day. People think that I don't know what people think, but I'm in this office working on my businesses. Yeah. The brands, everything else, the multiple different things. We have just under 200 employees and all the businesses we have. So we are working from this office every single day. When I go home, I'm dad. Yeah. I don't bring that home. Yes, there might be some calls that come through because of international stuff, but for the most part, I'm getting better at becoming the switch. And you have to have it. I've noticed with you and through social media and through our friends then, should we say, everybody has said, man, Joey's become such a different guy. Would you attest that to the relationship that you have now and other things that have happened?
Yeah, I would attest that to. I don't want to say a different guy, like it was a complete different person. I like to think I was matured.
Matured. That's what I should have said. That.
Different values in life.
Yes,
I definitely have different values in life.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I feel like I've always had a really good heart, and I've always treated people, with kindness and stuff. I just, you grow up, you mature, you find out what really matters in life, and you kind of see past all the bullshit and all the stuff that was like instant gratification, and like you said, you just mature and you continue to work on being the best version of yourself. And unfortunately, the best version of yourself sometimes means you have to kill off certain parts of who you were. And I know about that. That's an everyday process. That's something that you continue to do, and it's just been something for me over the past 2, 3 years, 4 years that has been kind of expedited. So,
what would you say you've killed off the most?
It's a good question. The single man of the town was definitely, I was definitely somebody that grew up with a lot of insecurity, got bullied and, made fun of a lot as a kid. And when I was all of a sudden, 5th, 6th grade, developed a jawline, became, I got that first smile from a girl and, that attention, which felt good and kind of made you feel like, hey, I'm good enough. Or, you kind of, that's a whole nother story. But, women, for me, I've always been very respectful to women in terms of, if I'm seeing somebody, even if we're not dating seriously, I was always, taking them to dinner, and I was never a one-night stand guy. And I remember my uncle told me when I was very young, he was like, if you're ever going to sleep with a woman and you feel like the second after you come, you want them to put their clothes on and leave, or you want to leave, don't do it. Don't be that type of man. Never do that to a woman. So even women I wasn't seriously dating and I was just hanging out with, I was always respectful. I still took them to dinners and I enjoyed spending time with them. But it was, you kind of search for, like I said, that assurance and that being good enough by getting attention from women in this industry, especially like the first, few years in, you're blowing up, and you go to these expos and there's beautiful women everywhere, beautiful fit women, right? And it's
tough.
It's tough. Exactly. It's tough.
I know.
So I think the one thing that has changed with me is realizing like that doesn't mean anything. Like whether it's sex, whether it's attention, whether it's being able to say that you talk to a certain number of girls, like it means a lot more to have a partner and have a best friend and have somebody that gives you purpose. And that's definitely part of me that has changed. Listen, I'm still a flirty personality dog.
But somebody's got the leash in you.
But exactly. I am chained to the front porch. Just because I'm chained to the front porch don't mean I can't bark at the mailman. I just can't bite him.
Yeah.
I don't mean that. My girl is great and she's wonderful, and she's had a transformation herself, because I remember she came with me the first time she ever experienced this, because she wasn't really in this space until me. We went to the LA Fit Expo and we walked in. It took me 45 minutes to get from the front door to the stairs to get upstairs.
What does she think? If that's her first experience, she's, what the hell is this, Joey?
Listen, and the way we met was she asked me to take a photo because she followed me and knew me in Chicago. But I remember there was a girl that asked me to pick her up in my arms like I was bicep curling her for a photo. And this to me is normal. I've done this at expos. Like, I don't think twice. And I did that, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing? That's bullshit. Don't do that shit. Like, that's inappropriate. You have a girl. I was like, whoa. And that kind of has till today where she's like, she don't give a fuck, man. She knows if I take a photo with a woman, it's respectful. She's kind of seen, how, like I said, you're an entertainer. You're trying to give somebody a smile, a laugh, whether I flex with a female or I, send a video to their boyfriend or just funny, goofy stuff like that. She's really matured in that sense too and been really supportive of what I do.
How hard is it for you to, at nights then, for you to be sitting at home knowing that she's in very dangerous situations?
I hate it. Listen, I have all the respect in the world for
Absolutely.
First responders, firefighters, and I love the guys in her house. I've met them all. They're great guys. They're awesome. One of the guys is actually a big follower of mine too, which was cool. But it's tough. I'm very traditional when it comes to the type of man I am. I'm protective. I want my other half to be laying next to me in bed at night. But she loves it, and she's worked so hard over the past 3 years to become what become a firefighter. It's tough, man. It's very tough because, like you said, you think to yourself, and she told me, she's like, listen, I remember she's like, there's this app that you can download, and you can see all the fires we go on. And I was like,
I don't know if you'd want to watch that.
I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Dude, do you understand? Like, I remember... Listen, I'm not good with blood. I'm not good with gore. I can't even, the first Saw movie, I walked out within the first 3 minutes to go watch Shrek. I was there with a girl and her friends. The first scene was somebody's head getting twisted or something. Yeah. I was like, nope, fuck this. I got up and I walked next door and I went and watched Shrek by myself while they watched Saw.
I'll be with you, bro.
I remember her first week really on the job. She came home and was like, and this is something and this is why I have so much respect for firefighters and the people, first responders, police officers, people that deal with this, nurses, people in hospitals. She had to pick up parts of a woman off the expressway that got in an accident on the expressway, went through the wheel, and there's parts of this woman all over the express, and she had to go pick that up. And she's telling me this, and I'm like, no. I'm like, you save a cat out of a tree, bring it home. Something like that. Great. I love to hear it. Maimed bodies and all this stuff. No, keep that at the firehouse. So she knows better. She spares me all the gore that she sees and the stuff. But
with that being said, do you know when she's had one of them days and when she's not had one of them days?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She definitely. It's tough. It's tough not only being a female and what she does. Which, by the way, she has outperformed men in all her testing. She is a beast. She is a badass. Yeah. She definitely. There's times she comes home, and I see that she definitely needs a little more support, and me to kind of step up. And to be honest with you, and this isn't a knock on her. And like I said, our relationship is very lopsided right now. She's not able to be physically and emotionally as available because of her job, and it's very tough on me, and it's very hard, but. That's the job, that's the job for at least the first few years until, she figures everything out, and I deal with it.
I'm sure it's a yin to yang, right? She's been there for you as you've gone through these mental maturities, and as of she's doing the same thing. But I think that when you see beauty in all of that, and you're focusing on what the core of what is and what has brought you together, you're going to have your good days and your bad days, but, love is love, right? Yeah. And she's seen you at your worst, or at least knows your worst. And I'm sure you've seen the same thing for her, or at least know of it. So, in London, the longest podcast I've ever done in my life. Right, Tyus?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, officially this is the longest podcast we have.
I know that prior to jumping on, you did tell me, Flex, I'm going to give you an exclusive that I've not even spoken about yet. So, what is that?
Oh, are you talking about the video?
No, I was told by yourself and Mark that. Well, wait. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing yet.
No, we are.
Oh.
So, talking about the videos I do, I was going to give you a video, an example of a video that I would. Duet. This isn't what he said. This is completely different. So you're gonna get two.
Okay, all right, there we go.
All right. So, we spoke about this. The tour. So the Gym Positivity Tour is what he was alluding to, and that's like we spoke about earlier, where we're gonna do. And I'll post. Oh, sorry.
And
I'll post about this more so on social media and put out more details, but. we talked about the banner raisings and the GPN flags and gyms and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to launch a tour for these gyms where they can have me. I'll fly out. We'll do a ceremony appearance, a beautiful event to celebrate that gym, becoming part of the community, part of the network, hang a banner in the gym, and speak about the commandments and stuff like that, and give back to their gym community and let them know what they're about, and kind of give them our support and have them become part of the network. And I know Mark said, and again, guys, I'll post more about this on my social media. For example, it's bookings at joeyswoll.com if you're interested for the gyms. Yeah, this is going to be, like I said, we've done 2 gyms already to kind of test it out. It was great. And my goal is, like I said, this isn't about me. This is about, like I said, the culture, the brother sisterhood of iron. It's bigger. It's bigger than just my pages. It's about building that environment and helping those people outside the gym doors to step foot. And so that's what we want to do.
That's huge. And I know we spoke about this earlier in the episode, but you didn't mention the tour. That's why I kind of danced around it a little bit. But the tour is going to be all announced on your social media.
Yeah, on my platform.
And it's going to be like I'm guessing scattered around the countries, different dates. You will fly in. You're going to have, like you said, a ceremony. You're going to hang a banner. And it's going to be like an event all in and around the gym positivity.
Yeah, we've had a lot. I've had a lot of gyms reach out that would, it is. You have gyms that want you to come do appearances, come do things. And, I want to be able to incentivize and offer them more, and at the same time really push my message. It's not having me come to your gym is great, and I'm sure, like I said, people will show up for that, but I want people to show up and realize what we're trying to accomplish and put the brand first and put, like I said, the mission of what we're trying to accomplish first.
That's fantastic, man. And honestly, like I've said at the beginning of the episode, I'm so happy that this is being done. Us at the Dragon's Lair, just so you guys know, we would love to look into doing this with yourself, how that looks. We can discuss off the podcast, but I'm all about that. I'm all about gym positivity. I'm all about creating a culture. And can you just remind the fans, followers, and gym owners around the nation how they can get in contact with you and your team to be part of this?
You can contact us directly through joeyswoll.com, bookings at joeyswoll.com. You can go to our social media pages, for example, Instagram, Gym Positivity Nation. You can DM that page. There's info on there for contact. You can always email Joey at joeyswoll.com, my personal email, which I use for my coaching and other stuff. There's a multitude of ways to contact us, and trust me, we will see it and we will get back to you.
And the last quick fire question, and it's going to be the last one before the podcast.
Let's have it. Give it to me.
If you could go back in time and give your past self a message on the day one on your fitness journey, what would it be?
Buy XRP. No. Day one, I would tell myself something I learned probably halfway through my lifting journey, which was, it's not how much you lift, it's how well you lift it. Kill the ego. Walking in the gym, you always want to bench. You want to bench 5 plates. You want to squat 6 plates. You want to be the strongest. And it's like being a bodybuilder is a lot different than being a power lifter. There's a lot of people that can do both, and you need to obviously push moderate to heavy weight. I'm not saying you don't, but I think when I first started, I would have focused more on, doing the exercises that are sustainable to, continue durability, to remove potential for injury, and to shape the muscle, focus on the squeeze, slow control. Like yesterday we trained, slow controlled reps with that drive, that squeeze. That's something you don't really pick up when you first start in the gym, that I try to give to a lot of people. That's something you learn over time, especially as a bodybuilder, somebody trying to create a physique and art. Whereas most people are just like, what's the number one question people ask you? How much you bench? How much you squat? It's like that, I don't know a single bodybuilder, not many, that barbell bench press. I don't. I don't. I haven't for years. And I know, I always look at Dexter Jackson, right? Dexter Jackson never even did free weights. The man was on machines, taking months off after shows. And the man had it. He was so smart. And that's why he did what he did. And he's one of the greatest of all time. And the guy was competing until he was 50 in his 50s. God
Still
bless
looks
him.
fantastic.
Still looks fantastic. God bless him.
And I think that right there in London is playing. Right there, Dexter Jackson is truly a example that people should look at. Right, you can see the strongest bodybuilders in the world, but unfortunately, they're not even able to train right now.
Yeah,
they had their time. They definitely done what they did. Dare I say it, a lot of paying the price.
yeah.
But then when you've got athletes who have gone the long route, yes, genetics play a part, of course. Listen, Dexter Jackson is an absolute genetic phenom. But I've trained with Dexter. I think we laughed and joked in between in between sets more than we done reps on the fucking weights. But that guy truly, again, is all about hypertrophy. Every rep counted.
Yep.
You could see, when he was training arms, he squeezed every little fiber, every bit of fiber, every bit of blood into that bicep and control the weight down, just as an example. But again, look at him now. He's not competing. He's come off the gas, I'm sure.
Still training, still killing it.
And still looks fantastic.
Healthy. Walk, the guy is, like I said, he people should look at how he, especially the second half of his career, should look at what he did and put a blueprint together that, takes, even if it's just the taking the rest after a show or, the staying away from the free weights for certain things. I will always be a free weight guy for some stuff. But yeah, no, Dexter's one of the best, man. I love Dexter. Yeah. And, Dexter's always been a good guy to me, man. Since when I first met him at Gold's when I was a young buck, and he would always be like, what up, Swoll? What's up, Swoll?
Little side story before we, again, I'm saying this twice now. My wife and myself, we met at the Arnold Classic, but our first date was when Dexter invited me up to his show, The Guest Pose, and he knew that I was seeing a girl from Florida, so he played the part. So shout out to Gail and shout out to Dexter. He helped me put that date together. And, obviously, I must have done something right. I'm still with her to this day. So
God bless you.
Yeah.
Beautiful family.
We had a, thank you, brother. We had a great date, first experience. Like, obviously, I can say that, Dexter had a small part in helping me put that together.
That is awesome.
And I got paid to meet my first, my wife on her first date. But Joey, mate, there's a few cards that, I would have loved to have spoken to you about, and always things like passion projects that you were involved with, that I'm involved with, even crypto that we've not even popped the lid on. I know you and I both are big into XRP and other cryptos. Sir. But I think it just gives us the excuse.
Mark was telling me you're going to interview BitBoy.
Yeah. I can't put that on camera, but
sorry.
Yes, it's all right.
He is a very good friend of mine. And
really?
We're going to do some stuff together too.
Oh, well. With that said, then I'll keep it in. But we reached out. We spoke about doing a podcast together, getting him in before he goes to Dubai.
Yeah.
And and doing something because
he's an XRP guy.
He is an XRP guy. He's a lot of people. XRP Army.
Yes, sir.
And there's a few other cryptos I'm involved with, and
Same here.
But again, you and I, you've been in it a little bit longer than me. You've gone through more of scarier times.
Yeah.
I've a little bit more scarier times. But thankfully now, there's new horizons and brighter futures to come, and I'm excited to hear that story in a part 2.
I'm here.
Joey Swoll, Gym Positivity Nation, and many other things. Straight out there, we are out.